All right, everybody. Happy Saturday, wherever you happen to be. Still Saturday, most of the world right now. On the way to Vintage Computer Festival West 2026. First day of August. This might be a record turnout. I've never had to walk all the way down a couple blocks to get to the event. There's always been parking. I think more people are becoming aware of it, either through live streams or word of mouth or whatever. And it's a hell of a lot of fun. And there are a shitload of nerds around here. Male, female, young, old, doesn't matter. Lots of nerds. And I think Wozniak's going to be here tomorrow, so I might come back for a second day. Today, there's some not founders, but major programmers from Activision from the 80s. David Crane, who's famous for Pitfall and lots of other games. I think Larry Kitchener, I think it's Larry Kitchener. Made several other Activision games. It's a big part of my youth. And they're doing a talk in about, I think, 15 minutes, so I'm actually cutting it close. I might just catch a piece of it, but yeah, it'd be fun to hear them talk about working on those games back in the old days with primitive systems and a lot of knowledge. But again, parking's fucking crazy. Never had to walk this far to park for this event. So that's a good thing, in a way. It means the festival is successful, won't go away. But who knows what it's going to be like inside. Just elbow to elbow. There might be a huge line just to get a ticket. Normally I buy a ticket ahead of time or get here early enough where it's not a big deal. But now I have to buy it on the spot. I think there's a deal for 2 days. A quick glance 2-3 days ago online, it looked like just double the same price. So there's no point in buying them ahead of time or as a pair or as a pass. So I'm gonna see what I can do about that. Maybe there is some kind of a deal. But from what I remember from the website, there isn't. So if Woz is going to be here and a few other things are going on that are cool, the presentations and stuff, I'll come back. But in general, I can see, and through events past, I've already been able to see all I pretty much need to see, walk and talk, in about 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours. Stopping, talk to some people, getting shots of stuff, watching snippets of lectures, stuff like that. I'm never going to sit and watch a whole lecture because someone else is bound to record that, and I'm missing out on other things going on while they're doing that. So, unfortunately, as far as I know, there's no guy like the guy who does the recordings at Living Dead Weekend and puts them up on Facebook, where you can basically stop in, look at people on stage, and then keep going and join the event, and not spend all your time sitting there watching lectures and presentations. You can actually enjoy the event. So he gives us that freedom. It's great. Michael's just a great guy doing that for us. As far as I know, there's nobody here doing that I've noticed. So either I would have to be the guy recording it and posting it online, or maybe somebody started it this year, who knows. So I always have to go with the snippets because I don't want to miss the event itself. Just too many simultaneous things going on. Look at this. Again, all these people used to have homes. All these RVs are people living in their vacation vehicles because they lost their homes. The economy's whacked. There you go, CHM, Computer History Museum. So this was former headquarters of Silicon Graphics. Giant Unix pioneers, huge workstations up to tower systems in the 90s that were like $1 million a pop, sometimes more. Multiprocessor, RISC systems running IRIX, their version of Unix. And you have to thank them for Terminator 2 effects, Jurassic Park, all kinds of amazing. Oh, there's a guy in a one wheel. And a Waymo, of course. There's fucking Google's right down the street. So all the rise in graphics quality over the years processing power, all that, all thanks to Silicon Graphics. But unfortunately, with the change of the times, they were too expensive. PCs got cheaper. Products like Softimage and Lightwave were moved to the PC, doing really good quality renders. And eventually stuff like Blender, which is basically free, open source stuff, kind of killed them pretty quickly. So writing was on the wall. They even made Windows NT systems for a while. Compatible systems here at Silicon Graphics as the last desperate gasp for air before they went under. And crazy shit. All right, I'm going to do a quick check on the outside. I'm assuming this is working because I can't trust YouTube anymore. I've had too many streams get glitched out and lost forever. So I'm going to go check my iPad real quick and make sure I'm still live before I go inside. Wasted much more time talking to air. So let's get my iPad out real quick and see what's going on. Unfortunately, I don't have another phone or a modern iPod or something like that I could just carry two devices to verify that my stream is good. I have to carry a fucking iPad to do this check. But it is what it is. All right, let's use my new feature of the tripod so I don't have to hold this fucker. Put this right down here. Built-in tripod in the new stick is amazing. Let's get it. This iPad is so old I can't even run the YouTube app on it. I have to use YouTube browser. Very silly. Let's see if it's here. Channel. Looks like it's still alive. Yep, there goes the car. Now there's a time delay. Let's do a quick little hand pass and see how long that takes to show up. Should be about 10 seconds, I think. Yeah, it's about 12 seconds. So, not too bad. But we're still live, yay! Yeah. Put the iPad away and let's go in, check out that lecture first, and then I'll do a walk around. Don't think you have to check a backpack here. I hope I can walk around with it because it's kind of a nightmare if I have to do that. But we shall see. All right. Put my tripod back in. And let's get money ready. Amazed to see how much this has changed over the years. It used to be a fairly small affair, just the lobby and one of the back rooms, but now it's the whole upper floor of the building. All right, here we go. Just like I said in the Peter Pan ride at Disneyland. Come on, everybody, here we go. All right. Just the area here is quite busy. People getting coffee and snacks and taking a break from standing for hours at a time. They're doing a whole new exhibit here on chatbots and stuff.
Well, once I get back.
Hello, tickets? Yeah.
Sorry, we're no cash establishment, so we'll only accept cards.
That's fine. Whatever. Why no cash? So that's weird. Can't trust. They can't trust people behind the counter. All right, thank you. How's it going? Just for one, but because it's the same price each day, right? There's no past deal.
Except for the second days, they actually get a full load anyways.
Ooh, why the second day?
The second day, it's a 2-day pass. This allows you to come back on the second day.
Oh, I see. But if I came tomorrow, it's just another ticket.
Another ticket. $42, same deal.
Is Wozniak coming tomorrow for sure?
He's coming for sure tomorrow.
Okay, then I'll buy two. What is the membership fee?
Membership fee is $15, which I attach, and you get half price. So instead of 42 or 84 today, you're getting 42 plus that membership of 15, which comes out to $57.
And that's a year, right?
So it's like we're paying you for the membership.
Hey, all right, yeah, let's do it. I didn't know that. I should have done it all along. I've been doing it the stupid way, so.
Well, you picked a good day to do it because this actually takes out the most of it.
Nice. Yeah.
You see the people up there?
I noticed the tag fell off me. Is that bad?
I recognize you. You've been here before.
Yeah.
Okay. Not too bad. I won't charge you this time. No way.
Do you get charged if you do that immediately? How do you, are you able to help me put it on so it stays on stage?
It's funny. It's wanting me to enter the field, but the keyboard disappeared. Oh, I'm so used to on-screen keyboard. Sorry, I'm an idiot. So. Sorry guys, I know this is boring. Entering these fields here. Oh damn, typos all over the place. I'm out of it. I needed some coffee or something. Thought I was more awake than that. Alright. Cool. Nice, thanks.
We'll give you a membership tab. That's
Okay.
only going to give you discounts today inside the gift
You have
shop.
to put on a shirt.
Yeah.
These always fall off. I don't like this design.
Yeah, they're generally not the best. If you come back, we'll give you another one. No
Okay.
worries. They're pretty changes.
Cool.
And then go ahead.
I got one.
Oh, perfect. Do that, and this is going to be your return for tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to give you a 2-day pass.
Very cool.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate
You're
it.
with us tomorrow.
What time is Woz coming? It didn't say it on the list.
In that last minute.
I know. That's why I wasn't sure.
I'm going to say early in the morning around 10:30, 11.
Oh, we're actually open.
Because
Because you open at 10?
Yeah, we're open at 10.
Okay.
No, we're open at 9 o'clock tomorrow.
Is it in a special area around here?
Check out the registration
Or is it in the
table.
main room?
Check out the registration table. I'm not quite sure, but
Okay.
they know it's
Because it's still an Apple One event, right?
well, we're celebrating Apple's 50th anniversary. The reason why he's here. I'm not sure if he's going to talk more or less about his Apple One.
Okay. And the David Crane thing already started upstairs, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Although we do have the schedule right on the top.
You do? Okay, cool. Thanks. Thank you. All right. I'm somebody now. I have a pass. Just like something out of The Jerk. So if you guys haven't seen this place before on other streams, it's a whole major computer museum with lots of cool stuff. They have the PDP-1 in here where you can play Space War. They have IBM 1401 punch card printer lab. And you actually can type in an actual machine. It creates a punch card. They run the punch card through and it prints the crazy fanfold paper from the old days, which is kind of cool. I don't know if the PDP-1 guy shows up anymore, but there's a guy who actually wrote Space War. You can play the game while he's actually in your presence and talk about the history of it. Really cool. That was the old days, though. Hello. Thank you. Close at 6? Or 5? I think it's 6, right? I think it's 5 tomorrow. Okay, no problem.
I'm
Thanks.
gonna find out though.
You have to say, no, I don't know, I just work here. Yeah, thanks. I gotta love that. There's the consignment area. Let's take a quick look at that before I go to the lecture, because stuff disappears. There's an old Apple flower. I have one of those.
One thing, people would forgive you.
Some old 2SI. Macintosh 2SI with a monitor, a bunch of mice. Some old PC stuff. Packard Bell. Ooh, there you go. Commodore 64. Drives and all. Tape deck. Classics of some sort. Yeah, SE, yeah. The old VisiCalc. For Excel, you had VisiCalc. It's a 2CI. I have one of those. Blueberry flavored iMac. Look at the HP trying to copy the Apple design later on. Colors and shapes. So, Performance. Scaled down Macs with built-in drives. You can also put a DOS card in there for soft Windows stuff. Or Orange PC. 2SI. Just a quick run through here. All stuff's already gone, it looks like. An old telephone. Look at that shit. Apple TV video system. Reel-to-reel deck. Sun Systems. Another 2CI. Well, there's an SGI. What is this one? Nope, my stupid little thing came off my collar again. I hate these little shirt clips. I don't know which one that is. Can't tell the name of it. The branding is pretty awful. SGI something. I know Wagyu has one of these. He would know. I don't know all the SGI systems that well. I know he has at least one or two of them. Wow, look at that. There's a keyboard for you. For scale. Joysticks. Camera parts. There's the old acoustic modem. Put your little headset in there. Your handset. There's some cards. Byte magazine. Is Unix dead? There's an old Atari ST. If I had money, I would buy this. I never had one before. Writing machine. Ancient SIBM. That's tiny. Here's little stink pad type things. There's a Sun looking like a desktop PC or a poor man's SGI. We got here oscilloscope. Microsoft Force Feedback Joystick. This is a classic. I love these things. $30 is an awful lot for something that old, though. Mine still works, I'm pretty sure. I just put it away. Lots of clones. Packard Bell. Lots of Packard Bells here. System 7.5. Mac started really get good. 7.5. This is an 8088. Actually, I had one of those on my desk at work when I first started Laser Company in '96. It was leftover 8088 along with my Mac. It's hilarious. So this looks like an original 128K, maybe a 512. 512, yeah. Same livery as the 128K, which I have. RJ11 keyboard connector in the front. It's got the DB9 mouse connector, parallel port. Or they call it a printer port, but it really is basically a type of parallel port. And 2 serial ports for modem and other stuff. Power switch, battery.
Oh, the TAM's gone.
Lots of oscilloscopes. What are they going for here? That's kind of a lot. Over $100 for some of these. This looks familiar. Asus. Oh, it's an Asus Pentium. Okay. Back to the stuff I saw before. So not that much. I think either people are bringing more stuff tomorrow or they already cleaned it out pretty well. Usually this place is chock full of stuff. I know there's a room over here that has more stuff. The better quality stuff that costs a lot more. Damn, even this room is sparse this time. So here's the old classic Apple with the RJ11 connector for the Macintosh. Oh, let's go. Stupid son of a bitch. Gimbal's going crazy. All right. What do we got? Sun station, Apple II, inverter time. I love these Wiko joysticks. I have one of these. Those are great. Silicon graphics monitor. So Apple speakers. Oh shit. Just individual bundle parts, power cables. It's got the RGB connectors for the fancier monitors back then. Keys for your keyboard. Atari Family Finances. Antic magazine, remember Antic?
Yeah.
Damn, this gimbal's fucked up again. All right, more Centrus types. Even got a G4 Mac. That looks cool. One of these looks like a power computing one, but it's not. It's just PC clones. Switchers. Sound pads. What the fuck's a sound pad? Pocket chip. Super mouse. Again, another adding machine. They pull out all the stops here for vintage. Oh, they have the old rounded PowerBook. It's a 520, so it's a passive matrix display, but it's color. They put in Shufflepuck Cafe. This is Mac Plus. Again, had the RJ11 connector, a serial mouse before ADB came along. But they put a blue SCSI inside here so you can do more stuff with it. Got some iMacs here.
Oh.
Mac 2. Old PowerBooks. Some are G3 PowerBooks, some are G4 PowerBooks. These old chunky ones. These are back when they had Motorola processors in them. Trackball for Atari.
Yeah, I found one of these in
A sealed Apple Keyboard 2.
this morning, and I grabbed it and tested or anything, and I'm like, oh, it's pretty hardy. Oh, that's good. That makes me feel good. Are you looking for anything in particular right
A
now?
bunch of the old IBM Stink pads.
Just looking forward for John.
Lenovo's. A microphone. A few games. Some Dragon's Lair. Lemons. Music Time. Music Time was okay. It was pretty lame, but it wasn't great. All right, let's go catch part of that lecture before it's over. I'll catch this other consignment room over here later. It's not going anywhere. This is more of the old nerdy stuff that stays longer. Look at this ancient shit in here. I'll come back and look at it later. Just a quick preview. People buying the consignments. There's the shirt this year, BCF 2026. See what the front looks like. Dawn of the PC. Apple, yeah, this is the anniversary of the Apple One. That's why Waz is going to be here tomorrow. I forgot which anniversary it is. I think it was 76 when the Apple One came out. There's the old Silicon Graphics coloration everywhere, white and purple. So they kept the colors. Again, you got books here, they have demo stations. Lots of cool stuff to look at. 8-bit CPUs. And let's catch some of the lecture. I guess it didn't start yet. I hope I didn't miss it. I did dilly-dally for a while, so I might have missed it. Can you tell me what time it is? YouTube won't show me the clock.
It's 1:23.
And 1:30 is the talk, right?
1:30, 1:40,
1:40?
1:30.
1:30, cool, thank you. Okay, cool, so I'm early. All right, I'm gonna get a nice central spot on the back, and I'm gonna set up my little magnet mount tripod thingy. This is good enough right here. Just got a few minutes to kill. here's the brochure, program guide. All kinds of cool. There's a schedule. There's exhibitor information. Because the website's pretty sparse. It didn't have a lot of this shit on there. There's a film about Osborne, either showing today or tomorrow. I have to double check the schedule. There is, yeah, more stuff about the Mandelbrot on Apple II. All right. And just more. There's Wozniak right there, an old picture of Woz with some guys. Jobs and Woz, and forgot that other guy. This probably says in the text, but Silicon Siren, I'm not sure what that's all about. Alright, what else we got? VCF After Dark. Yeah, there's an After Dark event tonight. I think it starts at 6 when the thing closes. I think it goes 6 to 7:30, I think, so it's not very dark. But there's a cash bar, food stations, and they have like food trucks come up. They had this last time. Barbecue, coffee, burgers and dogs, grab and go sandwiches. Overpriced, I'm sure. And then, of course, everyone has to use the Hello World thing. And there's a bunch of QR codes for shit. So, there you have it. That's your brochure. And now I have to get my mount ready. If you guys haven't seen this before, this thing's pretty cool. It's got a magnet mount that pops out. It's got a built-in Bluetooth remote if you want to use that, but you don't have to. And you put your phone on that magnet mount. And then if you push the bottom of this, oops, it's a little slick. The legs pop out, like that. And then you slide this down. It's really a two-handed operation. Come on, you son of a bitch. There we go. So you pop that open and you slide this puppy down like this. Now you've got a nice tripod base. And then this thing telescopes up to about 6 feet. So you can basically have this little portable thing in your pocket or your backpack. Always have a tripod so you don't have to waste your gimbal battery and your arm and have shaky footage. I use it at, well, I should have bought it for NAMM this year, but I saw somebody had one at NAMM. I said, ooh, I got to get one of those because it's not too expensive and it's super portable and sturdy. Much better than carrying a heavy fucking tripod around. And what's cool is I'm going to remove this from my gimbal. Come on, turn it off, gimbal. And what's cool about this, I just slide my battery mount over so there's room to go flush on the case. And then I pull this puppy up. And you just mount it like this, and it's going to hear it go clip. There you go. Didn't hear it, but it had a nice solid connection. And then because I can go higher than the person in front of me, potentially, but still using my head to block because I'm pretty tall, I'm not ruining someone else's view behind me and getting a perfect view of the show.
How much do I do that, Mike?
So,
Quite a bit.
pro tip for you guys looking for something cool for streaming or recording events, just sightseeing shit. Just wait for the event to start. And now I don't have to tire my arm out. I don't have to have any wiggle once I leave it alone. And I don't waste my gimbal battery. Win, win, win. By the way, this is the little pass you get when you buy the 2-day, called the 2-day ticket. Just gotta get the right angle and the right zoom. And you can nicely pose it so you can see everybody. And again, I don't block anyone behind me because my head is taller than this thing is. And I get a nice, clear, unobstructed view. So I'm not going to stay for the whole thing probably because there's a lot to see today. It is different each day because stuff comes and goes, especially the consignment area. Stuff comes and goes, stuff gets sold. And then some demo guys don't do both days, I don't think. So I want to get a nice walk around today in case people only come on Saturdays. There's David Crane right there on the right, the taller guy. Looks quite different. So if I'm almost 57, David Crane's got to be. He had to be at least 20 when he was working at Activision. So David Crane's got to be almost 80. Still kicking. See, video games can keep you young, as long as you don't get Pac-Man arthritis. Okay, so a little bit of dead time here. Just be patient, folks. I'm also going to plug in my battery wire while I'm sitting here. Why not? Because good old YouTube doesn't show me the fucking clock or my battery condition. I can suddenly be walking around the stream all day. Don't want that to happen. Just a little bit there. Good thing is, even if I do this above my head, there's generally nobody behind me that's going to be taller. There's only one row behind me. And so I can push higher. If I've got a really tall guy sits in front of me, I can still push this up.
Am I going to get in your way?
No, I'm cool. And like I was just saying on my video, it's streaming right now. I can pull this up higher and nobody behind me is going to get blocked because I have a big head anyway. So everybody wins. But thanks for asking. You also a big Pitfall fan?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, I love Pitfall. It's great. Especially Pitfall 2 is fucking awesome.
I've never finished it. It's too big.
Pitfall is impossible to finish. They have the thing where you take a picture when the timer stops and you send it in to get prizes because there's no end. It's just the clock runs out. It's a procedural game that goes on forever. It's just a time-based thing. So how many gold bars did you get? How many diamond rings did you get? All that crap. And your overall score. And so that was the challenge. But Pitfall 2 has a nice ending. So, in fact, there's a glitch, just like on Atari games, where you can finish, you can pop in near the end of the game and run the game backwards.
Okay.
And finish potentially somewhere else because you've already got the cat at the very end, the little fraidy cat or scaredy cat, whatever he's called, who's doing this little thing. Because that's where the game finishes, right below where you start. Okay. But if you do the glitch, it drop you down into that little cavern and you can go backward and run the whole game backwards. It's fucking great. It's like Superman. I finished Superman once. There was a thing, if you move Clark, you turn into Superman, comes down, hits the phone booth, turns into Clark, you move up, and there's enough time before the clock goes to 1 second. You hit select, which is a pause function, so you could pause the game and go do something else and come back. And the screens flash the whole map. And if you see the Daily Planet window, you just tap the joystick, you finish the game right there with 0 seconds. So it was great. I had endless time as a kid to play with this dumb shit. So you found out all these cool tricks. I never read about that. There were no magazines that I saw. It's not like Nintendo Power or something like that. Atari was just like a no man's land.
Yeah.
The adventure thing I found with the little dot where you can see the creator's name.
Uh-huh.
I heard with word of mouth. It told me how to do it. I didn't read about it anywhere. But it's cool stuff. But yeah, these guys are still kicking. I was just saying that David Crane's got to be like almost 80, because I'm going to be 57 this month, and he had to be at least 20 when he's making the games. So
Or 15. I don't know. Some of these guys got started early.
I don't know. But yeah, so he's up there.
I assume you've been by his booth and seen the new things.
No, I just got here, so I wanted to catch this first because I don't want to miss it. I'm coming back tomorrow though. I want to see Woz. So
Okay.
it's if I don't see him today, I'll see him tomorrow.
Well, they've got one. I forget the name of it, where you're running on a train and going into the cars and collecting stuff.
Is it a PC game or what is it?
Oh, 2600.
Oh, so he still makes 2600 games.
Yeah, they him and his buddy there have made.
So is it
like,
part of Atari Age?
A handful of them.
You know Atari Age on Facebook?
I don't know if it really matters.
Because they actually, a bunch of guys making new games. Like there's a Santa game and there's a
Okay.
bunch of crazy stuff. I haven't bought any of them, but I did buy that Super Cart where you can put an SD card inside the cart.
Yeah.
And you got like hundreds of games.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. That's my favorite. But yeah, I'll definitely check his stuff out.
So my name is Gary Kitchen. This gentleman over here is David Crane. Two of us have worked together in the game industry for 44 years, I believe, 1982. And we are now doing new games for the Atari 2600, which is about the most bizarre thing that anyone's ever done at the right old retirement age. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. And since it's somewhat of a technical crowd, I'm hoping, we're going to talk a little bit about why it's so crazy to be doing these games at this point in life when I'm supposed to be sitting in a rocking chair. So anyway, I am from New Jersey originally. Very close to New Jersey, Hackensack. Everybody know Hackensack? I went to college in Hackensack. So anyway, I have a BSE, hardware software guy, and I fortuitously got this job, very lucky, in this little teeny tiny company right around the time that microprocessors were coming out of the Apollo and into the consumer market, 4-bit microprocessors. And I learned how to program on a 4-bit microprocessor in the midst of a terrible schedule on an electronic toy from Parker Brothers. And that was fine, because I didn't know any better. If I knew how hard it was, I could have never done it. I didn't know, I just did it, and then I did another toy. And then this Atari came out, and I heard about this guy on the West Coast who had spun off from Atari, Nolan Bushnell, and David had started his own company, Activision. We might have heard of them. David loves to tell people he started a company that sold for $67 billion. Very exciting. So I decided I wanted to program the Atari. The problem was at that point in time, there were no manuals. You didn't go on the internet and learn how to program the Atari. The only people who had manuals for the Atari were people who worked at Atari, people who worked at Activision, because Activision reverse engineered the Atari when they left so that they were clean from a legal standpoint. But I wanted to do it, so I went and bought an Atari and I ripped it open and I figured out how it worked. This is another classic example of I was too stupid to know that that's really hard. I just did it. It took me 6 months. And I did it with the help of my trusty Apple II. I had one of the very earliest Apple IIs. I had no money, scrounged together $1,300, bought an Apple II, and then I decided I wanted to reverse engineer the Atari. And here is where you come to the crossroads of whether or not I am lucky. Because the Apple II had a 6502 in it, and the Atari had a 6502 in it. And if that wasn't the case, I could be baking croissants right now in a bakery. But the fact that they were the same processor gave me this way to connect them together with an umbilical cord, read ROMs, and understand what was happening after 6 months. Figure out the hardware, figure out the timing to the TV set, and I learned how to write games on the Atari. And I wrote a game called Space Jockey. It was a 2,000 byte program. I did it for an engineering company that I'm working for with the toys. And I thought we were going to sell the game to Activision or Atari and make all this money. Lo and behold, the owner of the company said, no, I have other plans for it. He went off, started his own video game company, took my product, sold it to Quaker Oats. Started US Games, sold to Quaker Oats, made a ton of money, and I felt mildly deceived, but what are you gonna do? So I went to him and said, look, I'm making $11,000 a year. I think I should make more. And he said, no, you're not worth it. So I left. A month later, I got a call from Coleco. Coleco was looking for somebody who knew how to program the Atari that didn't work for Activision or Atari. Pretty good choice. I was the only person submitted for the job. And I said, I can do that. So they told me the game was Donkey Kong, which was insane. Again, I keep getting hit with these insane questions. And I said, yeah, sure, I can do that. So I'm gonna spend the last half of my presentation talking about how you get a $3,000 arcade machine on to a $7 cartridge. But first, I'm gonna tell you a little bit about the game industry in that time period, and about the Atari 2600, which is the topic of all of this, and why it is such a pain in the ass to program, and why Donkey Kong was nearly impossible to do. So, let's go back to the beginning of the video game time. This guy named Ralph Baer, Sanders Associates, military contractor in the 60s. Ralph was an engineer there. He came up with this idea that he was going to make a game appear on a standard NTSC television. And they wasn't really the business they were in, but Ralph had seniority to let them do it. And we can debate forever, and people will do this, of what was the first video game. And there were certainly examples of individual games before Ralph, like Space War, which was at MIT, like Willie Higginbotham, I love that name. And I can talk about names because I'm kitchen. A tennis or two he did was very cool on an oscilloscope, but he actually did it on a television set, a standard US NTSC TV, and he actually had this thought in mind it was going to be a consumer product, which was pretty cool. You can go to the Smithsonian, his brown box is in the Smithsonian. So, he eventually licensed this idea to Magnavox. And Magnavox made the Magnavox Odyssey, 1972, the beginning of video games. And they used his technology. Now, one amazing thing about his technology, which I'll go into in a bit, is that it was discrete components. It was TTL. The game was defined by the circuit. There was no software. There was no graphics. It was all defined by the hardware. It really wasn't, it was a breakthrough, but the games on the Odyssey weren't very fun. For some reason, because they were a TV manufacturer, nobody would buy the game to work on anything but an Odyssey TV. They didn't think it would work on a regular TV, so that really hurt sales. And they didn't make any money, and the Odyssey failed. But they had Ralph's patents. They had licensed all those patents. I have a side gig where I'm an expert witness in litigation, I didn't choose it, it kind of chose me. People came to me and said, "You've never done this before, Rick, can you?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll try it." Once again, complete stupidity, not knowing how hard it was, but I've done it for 40 years, and I've been in the industry so long that I was an expert witness on some of the Rush 507 Ralph Baer patents in the game industry, and that is completely nuts. But anyway, his patent, I loved, Rush was on the team with Baer, and his patent describes a player-controlled hitting symbol, so an object, which, when it coincides with a hit symbol, which is the other object, one of them changes direction based on the collision. And they patented that. That was Pong. Paddle, ball, boom, come off. Trouble is, it was also every other video game of the period. And Magnavox lost the war on the video games, but they made $100 million off suing people for the patent. In fact, one of the companies they sued was this guy's company. They sued Activision in like 1983 or 84, maybe 85. And anyway, that was a side story on where games came from. They ended up suing a whole bunch of people. This guy comes along, Nolan Bushnell, who's in the Hall of Fame here at the museum, and he and Ted Dabney found Atari the same year that Magnavox's machine comes out. Rumor is that he saw the Magnavox machine and said we should make a coin-out version of that. Paddles in a ball game. Whether that's true or not, who knows? But he hired a guy named Al Alcorn. Brilliant guy. If you've met him, he's locally, comes to a lot of these events. He designed Pong, the arcade game. They had to put the quarters in the arcade game. And so Atari went a different route. They went into the arcade rather than the home, and that was a huge hit. Well, he immediately got contacted by Magnavox, who said, we have these Sanders patents. And he very smartly settled, got all the rights to it, put all that behind him. Most companies didn't, and they paid a fortune later. So with the money they made off the arcade game, they decided to make a home machine. Now, there had been a lot of home machines before this. They were all pretty much based on this hardware design where the hardware defines the game. And all the games were two paddles and a ball, and they were called hockey, lacrosse, ping pong, tennis, but people got tired of it after a while. And you couldn't update them because it was the hardware. It was defining the game. So Atari came out with this machine, which had a cartridge port, and had a microprocessor, finally. So the microprocessor meant that you could put cartridges in that had different software in them, and people would no longer get bored with the games that came with the machine. And that was a huge, huge difference. Now, they weren't the first on the market. Fairchild Semiconductor beat them by a year with the Fairchild Channel F, which also had a cartridge port, also had a microprocessor. But for whatever reason, and who knows, it didn't sell as well, and it failed. So Atari comes out in 1977 with this machine. Like $150, Dave? Was it? 179 maybe? Well, it was a fabulous thing. It was a lot of money, but it was expandable, and you could have a cartridge, razor blade type business with these cartridges in the store. And David was at Atari at the time, and started making games there with other engineers. The problem we find with this machine is that it was sorely underpowered. Based on a microprocessor, it was a 6502, which was $20 in quantity, while all the other microprocessors were $100 or $200 in quantity. So it was the choice. And it had ROM cartridges. But it didn't have much else because of the cost differences. RAM was very expensive. So they put almost no RAM in the cartridge. I mean, the machine. 128 bytes of RAM in the machine. 128 bytes. Not K bytes, bytes. Now, David and I, as aficionados of the platform, we like to think of it as bits, because that's 8 times more. But it's 128 bytes. That's like a sentence. If you type it out and take those ASCII characters, it's one sentence, that's it. And it also had no graphic chip. Didn't have a graphic chip, didn't have a frame buffer, didn't have a bitmap. I mean, in a normal video game, you do all this processing of all the things you want on the screen, you set all this RAM up with the image you want, you hand it to the GPU, and the GPU paints it on the screen. It's a beautiful, wonderful thing. Everybody understands that. There was no RAM, so you couldn't put it in a buffer. So what you had to do was, for every scan line on the TV, and there were about 220 or so, or 190, depending on how you're doing it, that are visible. For every one of those, you had to have your 6502 assembly language code synchronized to the beam, which was going across the screen, from the left edge to the right edge. You had 76 6502 computer cycles, which is about 15 to 20 instructions of assembly language code. That was how much code you could run in that time period from the left edge to the right edge of the screen. And in that time period, you had to compute and update all of the graphic registers with what you wanted on that line. And they were very nice. They gave you 22 cycles during horizontal blanking at the very beginning, off screen, with the theory that anything that's on that line, you're gonna write it all during horizontal blanking. Because if you don't, you're gonna screw up. Like, let's say, for example, Mario is way to the left at about maybe the 30th cycle, and you don't write Mario until the 40th cycle. Well, you missed Mario, he's not there. The Raptors already passed him, goodbye. So you had to be able to cram as much brilliance into 76 cycles as you could. And then it went back, retrace, and run again, and now you do it all over again for the second line. And you do that for every line on the machine. And you can't go off and do other things. Your processor is doing that and nothing else. Which means that for about 75% of the time that your processor is running, you have no computation power, you cannot do game logic, you cannot do anything. All you're doing is painting the screen because you're taking the place of the GPU. It ran at 1.19 megahertz. It had to be synchronized to the TV. Now, synchronized means, here's what it means. Everybody, some people in this room write code, right? A lot of people write code. You're writing code, you come along, you have a decision. I'm gonna go this way or this way. And then you go down a little while and you have another decision. Oh, now I'm gonna go this way. And then you come back and you go down and you have another decision. Well, there are all these paths that your code takes. Well, every one of those paths had to begin and end in synchronous. So if you had a choice that I'm gonna go straight down, or I'm gonna branch off and do something else and come back, that branch off had to have the same number of cycles as the straight path. And you had to count that for every path of your code to make sure that you were always synchronized and on the cycle you thought you were on. At any point in time, your code knew what pixel you were on, what line you were on. Now right there, that's lunacy. But you learned it. I mean, it was the way you did things. Imagine me trying to reverse engineer that. That was crazy. So the Atari, with this brilliant system, is made to do two types of games. This is it. They've got Pong, which is two objects, a ball bouncing back and forth, and then two objects hitting it, and when they collide, it changes direction. It's amazing. The other game they shipped with was Combat. Combat was a low-resolution background, which is either symmetrical left or right, or reflect it left or right. That's all it can do. It couldn't handle a whole screen of background, so it only let you define a half screen of background, and then it either copied it or reflected it. They cut corners every possible way they could. They had to, I guess, to get the price. So Tank had two objects, single color objects, just like the two panels. It had a missile with each tank. Hope you're counting. Two objects, two 8-bit objects, two missiles, those are 1-bit objects, and the ball from Ping Pong, which was a 1-bit object. That was it for objects. That's it. Two 8-bit objects, single color, two missiles, 1-bit objects, and a ball. And it had a background. And the background was 40 pixels across the screen, which means they were ugly sized pixels. As you can see from the Tank background, big, clunky, ugly pixels. And that was it. So what can you do with that, right? So then they came and said, here's what you want. I want you to take this thing on the left and put it in this thing on the right. And like a fool, I said, yeah, sure, I can do it. And I think the day before I had been to an arcade and I had played Donkey Kong, and my wife was oohing and on over how unbelievable it was, like a cartoon. And then I come home and get that call, and I say yes, of course. So I had 90 days. In that day and age, and this is something that we have a new company called Audacity Games. And on Audacity Games, we don't have schedules. And the reason we don't is a direct reaction to my 45 years in the industry, where all I've had is nothing but schedules. So we do a game, and it's not done until it's done. And that may be a year late, 2 years late. There is no late because there's no schedule. This, 90 days. And the reason it was 90 days is these were ROM chips. They had to be burned in manufacturing, had to go into cartridges, had to be maybe imported. And for it to make Christmas of 1982, holiday season, it needed to be done by the end of May. And they called me in February. Now, what are you gonna do? They just made the deal with Nintendo. They licensed the coin-out game from Nintendo. They have it on the Atari. Find some guy stupid enough to do it. He's hired. Let's do it. So what do? How do you start? Here's how I started. Graph paper. This is the way you did graphics. There were no tools. Graph paper. I sat with graph paper and I drew what I wanted screens to look like in a graph paper. That's the way you did it. Look at these graphics, huh? He was called Jumpman at that point. He wasn't Mario. In Donkey Kong, he's Jumpman. He doesn't become Mario till the next Nintendo game. But there he is climbing over there, behind. You see his left and right leg. I decided I'd add color to him. But when you add color, your control is only based on a line. So it's color line by line by line. You can't make color in the middle of the lines. At least you couldn't until we learn more. And in the upper right-hand corner are the famous barrels. Now, I have been told that they look like Ritz crackers. I will confess I actually did draw them to look like Ritz crackers, but they're the barrels. Some close-up of all that. And this is how you did graphics in 1980. And then what you did, upper left is what I took off the graph paper. Upper right is converted to binary, 1 bit. And then converted to hexadecimal, because that's what the 6502 understood. And then I decided to put a color table on it. So for every line of graphics, I assigned a color, because it looks much better. Now you notice that on Pong and Combat, there were no colors on the objects, they were single color. But I had to make this leap that if I'm gonna make something look good on a single line, not only am I gonna have to store its graphic information, I'm gonna also store its color information. That will take twice the time but the objects will look better with color. So I'm gonna do it. What am I gonna do?
And if you look at Jumpman there, the black for the eyes and the detailing, there is no black pixel. He has a white pixel. And he leaves the pixel out and it shows the background through from the other side. So we are really trying to deal with a single pixel, single color pixel the whole time.
Right, so you end up using like the void space. And I couldn't tell for the longest time whether the void space under his nose was a or was a mustache or a very odd looking nose, but had a little bit of mouth there maybe, but you know, it worked in the end. Same thing with the girl that was being rescued. Same thing, drew her in the upper left, changed her into binary, hexadecimal, put a color table on her. Now here we get a problem. This is your low-res, really ugly background. You've got two choices. That background can be the same on the right as it is on the left, right? Same on the right as it is on the left. Or it can be reflected left and right. Now, what's that mean? It means you can't have slanted ramps because they are neither reflected nor copied. So that was a problem. But I drew them anyway on graph paper. I said, I'm going to draw it, and I'm going to try to figure it out. Now, there's a famous story that happened during my development. I'm sitting in my basement, and I called Activision, because I was about 2/3 of the way through the game, and I had flat ramps, because I couldn't overcome that problem. And I called Activision, and I talked to the vice president of Activision, and he didn't believe me until I told him I was at Coleco, and suddenly he got interested, flew out and met me, and I showed him, there aren't any Coleco lawyers in the audience anywhere. I showed him what I was doing, probably violated like 6 contracts. And he thought it was fabulous, and as he was leaving, he said, by the way, if you worked at Activision, those ramps would be slanted. It's a dare. So, right after he left is when I drew this. And I said, now how am I gonna make that happen? Well, think about it. If you're synchronized with the raster, what if I wrote new information to the information that defined the left side? What about when the raster got halfway? I wrote more information and changed what the memory had in it in time to have a separate right side. Well, that's great, but I still only have 76 cycles. And to think I could do all that story is crazy. So you have this nice chart. This is new, it didn't exist when we were doing this, but I like it now. It shows, if you look 3 lines from the bottom, PF0, or 4 lines, PF0, PF1, PF2. Those are the registers that you could write the background into. So you normally, in a normal world, write PF0, PF1, PF2, right side would be taken care of either as a copy or a reflection. So what I decided to do is I wrote PF0, PF1, PF2, and after I wrote PF2, I wrote PF0 again, before it got to that little PF0 yellow box. And then I wrote PF1 again, and then I wrote PF2 again. And I chased the raster across the screen to fool it into thinking it had the same graphics on the left and the right, but in fact it had unique graphics on the left and the right. And it worked. So there it was. And it looked a lot better. And I laughed at Tom Lopez from Activision and said, I did it. So I also have these guys. Now, how do you make these guys out of 2 objects and 2 missiles and a ball? Well, if you think of a sprite on this machine, that 8-bit object, as a film strip, starting at top of the screen, going to the bottom of the screen. In fact, if you just write 1 FF into the first line and don't do anything else, you're just going to get an FF strip all the way down the screen. Well, you can cut the film. You can cut the film and create a second character, as long as he's not on the same line. He can be underneath it. So at the very top, the score is 6 digits. Now another thing you can do with this machine, thank God for flexibility, is you can say, I have P0, but I want 3 copies of P0. P0, P0, P0. They all theoretically have the same graphics in it, but that's okay. So at the top, I did P0, P1, and then I had copies. P0, P1 the second time, P0, P1 the third time, and that was the score. And using the same trick, which I didn't invent, Mr. Crane invented the trick I'm talking about, by the way, so that close was really for him. I could hit between every P0 and P1. If I hit with new graphics, I could display 6 independent digits up there. And then I cut the filmster, and I put the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man up there on the left, Donkey Kong. And next to him, I put the girl with a color table. And then I cut again, and the girl becomes the barrels. And you can have as many barrels as you want coming down, and they're all rolling in different directions. But in between them, there's always a slice going. And it's so for us to keep track of this, it's insane. But Mario was one strip, just moved around and up and down. Now, where I miscalculated, which is funny, is if you look on the right here, you see there's a hammer on the second level from the top. That little hammer hanging there. I never thought about that until the very end, when I said, oh, damn, do I have to put the hammer in? Because I was out of everything. I was out of cycles. I was at 76, that was it. There are no more objects, because if you look at that line the hammer's on, Mario can be on that line. There goes him. The barrel can be on that line. So I made the hammer out of a ball and a missile. That's why the hammer is yellow, which is the color of the barrel, and red, which is the color of, purple, which is the color of the ball, because the ball corresponds to the background color. And I figured out how to fit those 2 stores in that line so I could have the hammer 2. And honestly, without looking at the code, I have no idea how I did it. But it was desperation. I was at probably day 87 out of 90, and I had to get it in, and I got it in. So hopefully, without getting too detailed, this is how the Atari 2600 was such a bear, and all the insanity you had to do to get something that looked good out of a machine that didn't pop. And now I'm going to hand it over to David Crane, founder of Activision, who is going to take you on a trip to Pitfall. Hey, it worked. It did, it's a miracle. We're so good with electronics. How many times you come up here, you're a big, fancy engineer, and you can't get the TV to work? We were at a quick aside, we were at a meeting with the Sega Channel. When it was first starting, we were consulting with them on the Sega Channel. We love digital delivery of stuff. How ironic that we're not doing digital delivery now. But at the time, we loved it. When we went in for this demonstration and showed them some stuff, and the laptop started overheating. Our laptop, it's like 15 people in the room. So our Sega guy, who was our main contact, runs out, goes into the kitchen, gets 2 gallons of milk, comes back, puts them on the table. We put the laptop on top of it, cooked the milk, ran all the reasons. All right, David.
All right.
That's all my nonsense.
So Gary did the introductions. I worked at Atari with Alan Bushnell. I was introduced to Atari by Alan Miller, who was my tennis doubles partner at the time, who happened to be working there already. And one night we were playing tennis, and after the tennis, he brought out a piece of paper. He said, "Please proofread this. This is an ad I wrote for the San Jose Mercury News for game creators at Atari. We're trying to set up." I read it, and I said, that looks actually like a kind of a fun job. I went Atari at 10 o'clock the next morning, was given a job offer at 2 o'clock, and gave my notice at National Semiconductor. So in less than 24 hours, I was going to go from an electronic engineer to actually writing software for a living, which had some trepidation. I'd done a lot of microprocessor work, but did I really want to program for a living? So making games is better than programming, so that happened. Anyway, Atari kind of fell apart, and the 4 top developers for games at Atari we spun off and founded Activision. The idea being, we thought that game creators should have credit. We were the first company to actually credit the game designers, like the authors of the book. And we actually created the first third-party publisher of software, because at the time, Atari made games for the Atari, and Mattel made games for their Intellivision, and Activision made games for whatever we wanted to make games for. We were the third party, and I was at a game conference, and 600 people out there, and I said, who works for the third-party game publisher? And it was everybody. That's how it's done now. It's everybody except maybe there's Sony guys who work for Sony and Nintendo work for Nintendo, but everybody else is third party. So that's how this industry came to be, pretty much. So we're talking about Pitfall. I don't know, is there anybody here who hasn't heard of it? Hey, there's one. It's widely considered to be the first platform game. Sold a lot of copies, and it's still actually, the last I saw, in the top 100 video games of all time after millions and millions of video games have been published. So I'm kind of proud of that. And a little tagline at the bottom there that anybody here that hasn't heard of Pitfall, you're probably here with your parents. Anyway, the thing about Pitfall is, this I think is a video. Let's try it. Yes, there we go. Pitfall is a side view game, and the trick with Pitfall is when you run off the right side of one screen, you run onto the left side of the next screen. So it was a screen-to-screen horizontal world, and the beauty of that is you didn't know it was on the next screen. You could imagine going out of the jungle into the city, out of the city into, under the harbor and jumping on a boat, going across the ocean. Of course, you didn't have a phone for that, but you could imagine that there were lots of things that you could do. And everybody remembers the alligators and curses. But, so, as I said, this was kind of the concept, was running off of one screen and getting onto another. That only works if you can make enough screens on the platform to make it into a big world. And that's what we're talking about here in the 13 minutes I have left. So this is one of my favorite cartoons. The Atari 2600, as Gary said, is 128 bytes of RAM. And 14 bytes of ROM, basically. And you spend all that time drawing a picture and such. So this is the system that I had to write the new game concept for that became Pitfall. As an aside, when Atari, I was at Atari when they made the Atari 2600, and the goal there, Atari had a bunch of arcade games, so great games in the arcades. And they said, if we make a home console that is programmable, we can sell our hit products into the home on this home console. That's great. When we spun off to be Activision, we didn't have any arcade hits. So every game that we did had to be original. And so that's a little more challenging to not even have a starting point. I want to make a game, what's it going to do? Yeah, it's very limited. So we did a pretty good job, but it was not particularly easy. So imagine you got 4K bytes of ROM, and you want to have a game, let's say 255 screens. That's my Gary number. Well, how many bytes does it take to define a world, or a room in the world as a screen? Well, if you spend just, 35 or 30 bytes doing it. You run out a 4K ROM before you do any graphics, any code, any sound effects, anything. So I had to come up with some really creative way to make the world in the game Pitfall. And I went with a procedurally generated world, which was the first. I basically created 1 byte of RAM that defines the world, and then created a maximum length LFSR, that's linear feedback shift register. It's a shift register that it doesn't just shift, it shifts and generates a new bit each time. And I said, okay, so let's do that. And the LFSR generates 1 byte, and I'm going to derive all the screens from that 1 byte. And now I've got them in a sequence, and it's a repeatable sequence. So again, LFSR, it's typically 1 byte of RAM, and then you do exclusive ORs of some of the bits to generate the next bit after a shift. Like that. So this is the LFSR from Pitfall. It taps 4 different bits to generate a new bit, so that when you shift it to the left, a new bit comes in to the 0 bit of the variable. So that's how it's generated. Now what do we do with it? All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take the low 3 bits of this 8-bit number, and we're going to choose one of 8 paths. And as you can see there's different numbers, I just code different numbers of holes, different numbers of things, different path objects, and whatever. And there's only 8 of those in the game, but they come randomly, pseudo-randomly, based on the sequence. I take the next 3 bits and use that for other things that are going on in the scene. There's swamps and water and alligators and all that same kind of stuff you saw. And then the last 2 bits would actually do the tree pattern. Tree pattern, you don't notice it, but you would notice it if it didn't change. When you move from one screen to the next, the tree shifts slightly, and it basically puts it in your mind that, oh, I've gone somewhere else, I've moved to a new screen. You really needed to do that. So the first screen that I used for the definition, the seed of this LFSR, was C4 in hex. And one of these is a video, I don't know if that one is. Hey there, look at that, isn't that cool? So C4 becomes 89, and then 89 is going to become another code, each time bringing in a different exclusive OR pattern into the LSP. So let's look at 89. We were looking at C4 before, we look at 89. And you see that that is the path pattern. There is the object pattern and such. And the trees, which you don't really notice unless you see it side by side. But. So let's see, I think this is a video as well. There we go. So basically, I had to code each one. So it did take some code, but it's the definition of the world that is handled by this single byte of LFSR. You see that you have water. You may or may not have alligators in the water. If you don't have alligators to run, you had to have a swinging vine to get over it. So there's a little bit of logic in there that says this has to be this way because. And similar is this one. So these are the 8 choices, the 3 bits of path and object that are in the game. So here we have several iterations of running the shift register. You see a circle. There we go. You can see the bits are moving to the left with a new bit being fed into the least significant bit of this. And everything's being shifted to the left. So, great. We have a maximum length LFSR, those are kind of rare. They have all 255 combinations of an 8-bit number. And this is great. Every time Harry moves from the off the right edge of the screen to the left edge of the next one, I simply shift that to the left and use the bit patterns to decide what the screen looks like. So I define the world. But let's say you run off the right side of the screen and you turn around and you want to go back to the previous screen. Well, I'm kind of generating this thing on the fly, and I don't have enough memory to remember what it was. So I had to come up with a maximum length LFSR that works both forward and backward. And that was where it got kind of crazy. So, what do we got here? So you see, this is the first screen that we saw, screen C4, and you run over there, you get 89, and you turn around and run back the other direction, and you better generate a C4 somehow so that you can make the same screen that you just left. I think that's about that. So, the real challenge with LFSRs in the first place is they're not all maximum length. And in fact, what's interesting, since each subsequent number is generated by the previous number, if you ever generate a number that has been previously existing in the sequence, you're done, you're hooked. It is now looping back, so there might be only 8 numbers, because if you end up with that same number that you started with, if I end up with C4 anytime in the sequence, I'm back into C489, right? So anyway, I don't even remember how I did that. It was 1982. And there are a lot of theories that you can look up on, LFSRs, but it is the part of the generation. So this is probably also a video. No, it's not. Anyway, but it's a sequence so that you can see that C4, 89, 12, 25, 4B, turn around the other direction, you go back to 25, 12, 89, C4, and everything generates from there. So in the 6502, this is, the left one is the first one we looked at that goes C4 to 89, the right one is the one we looked at that goes 89 back to C4. So those 31 bytes generate the entire world in Pitfall. They don't display it. There's a lot of display code and other things, but they define what the screen is going to be. So I don't have to use the entire ROM just to define the world. So Gary took all the time, so I'm going to finish early. Thank you. Anyway, this is what we're doing now. Brand new games for the Atari 2600. We have a table out there. Bring in any of your boxes from our old games, and we'll be happy to autograph them. And if you buy games here, we'll sign them as well. Fortunately, we're only here today. I actually, accidentally, I told a couple people that we're back here tomorrow, but currently we're not. So anyway, that's how it's done. Now what we like to do is hear from people who play our games and have questions about the creation of the games. I'm going to sit down, we both have mics. Tell us if you have any questions. Do we have an MC who can select questions? I do, yes.
All right. Thank you so much. That was such an amazing presentation. I have a question. As far as what you're doing now in programming in 6502 assembly, is there anything that you're doing now with your current games that seems so obvious that you wish you would have had that knowledge way back when?
No. We've published hundreds of games, or we've part of, hundreds, literally. And I personally have published games in 25 different languages. But the 6502 is so natural to me, I can look at the binary and read it. So we got so intimately involved in all of this stuff that it was like riding a bike. I mean, we said, let's do this again. And I can write 6502 as easily as I'm writing English language typing. We don't have, we had to recreate everything to do this. We had to do injection molded plastic, manuals and boxes and circuit boards and you name it. We had to recreate everything that we created at Activision. And we can't use any modern tools. Today, you draw a picture in Photoshop and press a button, and it's in your game. Doesn't work that way. So,
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that we're doing that's new is because of manufacturing limits, the only ROMs we can get are 32 times the size of Pitfall. So we're going from a 4K ROM to 128K ROM. And obviously we have who we're going to use it. So we have done certain things in the games which we would normally have called frivolous waste of space. But we do them because they're really cool and we have the space, so why not? Other than that, it's the same as it always was.
That's
I want to run like.
thanks so much for the talk. I was actually going to ask how you go back in Pitfall, but you already answered that, so I'm not going to ask that again. I'd be curious from a technical perspective if you actually use the stack for anything, like if you would use like a subroutine call and a return for subroutine for anything, or if that's just like a complete waste and there was like no reason to do it.
Nobody has any idea why I left. We have 128 bytes of RAM, and we start defining variables from the bottom of that RAM. But the stack, the microprocessor stack, starts at the top of that RAM. So for every subroutine level we want to use, we are destroying game RAM in the process. So you will, yes, I always use subroutine calls. I never go deeper than 2. So there are 4 bytes at the top of my 128 that I know are trash. And, but otherwise, you know, you don't do a lot of subroutine calling in this machine. And also it's very time intensive. It takes 12 extra cycles, and we're counting every single cycle. So who wants to waste 12 cycles just to do a subroutine call?
Yeah, it makes for very well organized code.
He's facetious.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I've always been an Apple fan. So I had an Apple II Rev 1 48K board, you know, when I was still in college. And it came in very handy for reverse engineering the Atari. But it's in my garage now with my other 5 Apple IIs. I have all sorts of different serial numbers, types, and all that good fun. But no, we use Macs
The
now.
answer is no.
We use Macs.
Spiritually, one of my favorite games is A Boy in the Blob. It was a huge one for me. I have an awesome game. But it seems spiritually or visually kind of similar to Pitfall, but obviously with many more resources and much bigger visuals. Is there anything in common between those two games technically, or is it all just kind of screen-based exploration of the world?
There is not a line of code that is the same. I very seldom ever have a line of code from one game to the next because it's so intimately written for the hardware that you can't be generic. And we're getting way from the line. Our clock is at 0. Let me try to answer it quickly. When I created the Avoidance Blob conceptually, and I said, all right, I want to do a tool-using venture like was being done on the PC at the time. But I hated the fact that you had to leave the game paradigm to change your weapon from sword to whatever. So I created a shape-changing blob to be your toolbox. And the Avoidance Blob became an adventure like Pitfall, but with a tool-using adventure, and without having to leave the game to select a new tool. What are we doing for time? Is anybody back there keeping track? What's that? Out of time.
Thank you very much.
Hope you guys enjoyed that. It's pretty fucking cool. I had no idea the complexity, but it makes sense. Can only imagine what Pitfall 2 looked like. That's such a more complex game with music and crazy graphics, more animations. You guys are super clever. Yeah. Ask them a few questions before they go back to their table. And I'll catch them before they leave today, since they're only here today. I didn't know they're only here today. So I'm glad I decided to buy passes. So the overall pass, so I can go 2 days. Time for the switcheroo. Just get lined up again. Not quite centered. All right. Pardon my shaky cam. Beautiful. So you can see the whole thing extended, the feet and all. And if I put this down, this whole thing collapses down. This folds over like that. So that's, and then I have this space here where the legs come up. And then the lock comes at the very bottom of the feet. Right here, and it goes chick. And then the thing covers the sensor so the little remote control never falls out. There's a magnet to keep it in there, but pretty awesome little thing. Not very heavy, sturdy, fits in your pocket or your backpack, and pretty awesome. All right, put this where it belongs in the backpack. Talk to them real quick, then we'll walk the floor.
Even though we have a bunch of working like this, there can actually be some screen has to be on. So there are times we're still recording. We had one time where I did it. We noticed that the first bite of graphic tape was
Thanks for the great talk. It's really cool.
Thank you so much.
What was the
so what he did is put his
general feedback that you received from the game?
fell into
Donkey
Because
Kong?
yeah, because
Well,
I was kind of a picky kid, so I'm like, I don't really like this version, but to have it was cool.
yeah, a lot of people who understood the machine loved it.
Yeah,
People I knew who played it as gamers loved it because it was great for the machine, and
Yeah.
they didn't expect it to be like
it's
the
an
art.
insane amount of work. I had no idea. So,
Yeah. But over the years, people's memory
yeah.
has gotten to the point where they say, "Oh, it's terrible," and I laugh it off.
But it's no ET, right? So didn't end up in landfills.
ET was terrible because you landed in a pit and didn't know how to get out.
I mean, it was
Howard could have fixed that very easily.
it was pretty well made though. It looked nice. It sounded
It
nice.
was. It was just.
It just was dumb.
It was just
Yeah.
simply a guy who was too close to his code,
Yeah.
who didn't know what everyone else knew. Was you step off the second screen, you fall in the hole. You don't know how to get out, you're pissed off, and you turn off the machine. If he had had anybody play the game, they would have said, Howard, how do I get out of the hole? And that would have been it. But what are you gonna do?
Yeah. It
But,
was.
but he takes it with.
I talked to
with
him.
cheer.
He was here a couple years ago. I talked
Yeah.
to him about it. It's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, he was cool about it.
like talking
But,
Yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah, amazing amount of work. I had no idea.
Crazy.
I knew about the graph paper. I didn't know how crazy that was either. That's pretty crazy. That's pretty fucking crazy.
We don't do the graph paper.
Oh, but
We have
not.
better
Yeah.
tools than that now.
Yeah, for sure. So the Pitfall 2 was really elaborate. So that
Pitfall 2 had a. Pitfall 2 had. I'm doing it while I'm talking. Pitfall 2 had a coprocessor in it.
right, okay.
Yes, had the first GPU.
Because that was insane.
Yes.
As much as I love the first game, Pitfall 2 was totally insane.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, it's-
Unfortunately, the timing of the industry, it hit a wall.
It was
right
too
at
late.
the same time.
Yeah, it was too
And
late.
It was too late.
yeah.
Yeah.
But just the vastness of it was just crazy.
Oh yeah, unbelievable.
Cool. Thanks again. That was very good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Is that in Montreal? So Montreal, no. Okay. Montreal, we actually filled up our Where's VCF? VCF is in Wall, New Jersey. So it's on Jersey Shore. Got it. And it's going to be, usually it's at Link Science Fiction Museum, but it's becoming too difficult to be there. We're pretty growing in space in a lot of ways. And they're not really geared. I like show some emails. All right, thank you.
Excellent talk. One of my favorite games of all time. So I'm sure you heard that a million times. However, I know you didn't have time to go into the details. It's probably not that much different than what you already covered. But the whole area with the Scorpions. So it's a much smaller area. It did pretty much use the same system but doubled, or how did it calculate all that extra stuff?
Yeah, I mean, all the what the Scorpions do, it used the same byte for the definition. I didn't look into that part because I didn't remember anything.
Yeah, sure.
There's just brick walls and Scorpions are really
Right.
the only choices. And when you travel from one, off the right edge of the screen while you're down below, it increments the counter 3 times.
Okay.
It goes 3 screens.
We noticed that. We played that game so obsessively. I figured out the right down below to take to skip unnecessary screens to get as much treasure as possible.
what you had to
So
do.
we mapped the shit out of that
You
thing.
had to do that just to finish it in the 20 minutes.
But I don't think we ever got all the treasures. Because if you get the last treasure, does it stop or does it still run out? Okay, so I never quite got the last
On the
one.
board.
Because I would just run out of time and not know if I got any of the treasures. So I must have missed 1 or 2 of them. Because we played I tried to get as efficient as possible. We played that sucker to death.
Did you run right or left?
Yeah, we tried different things. I think it was right.
Left is better.
Left is
I
better.
designed it to run right.
Okay.
But then somebody pointed out to me that when you're running to the left, if you die in a pit, the new life moves on the left side of the screen.
Yeah. Ah, good point.
You don't have to go jump the elevator.
Yeah. How did you decide that? It was just arbitrary which side to go on?
Because I drew him facing to the right.
Okay.
So, and I put him on the left side of the screen. So you
Yeah.
think forward, onward.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, amazing. But I was always frustrated. I'm like, what the hell are we doing wrong? I just run it down to 0, and I had to have all the treasures. So I think we took too many undergrounds and did skip treasure or something.
Sometimes
Yeah.
the correct path was to go and then go back and get a treasure.
Really? That's probably what it was. That's one thing we didn't try. We obsessed over enough, but just not quite enough. So, now I'm gonna have to go play it again.
All right.
Thanks. I love that fact, by the way, that in Pitfall 2 on the PC version had that little room you go into and you can play the actual Pitfall.
Yeah.
That was so cool. Very excellent. Hope you got paid good well for that.
No, actually, that was done after my time.
Oh well. I'll go by your table later. I go look at the games. I didn't know you guys were doing new games. That's excellent. So.
That's one way you should put signs in.
Thank you. Oh wow.
Yeah, they're all together.
All right. Got to nerd out a little bit. That was fun. I did spend a significant amount of many years of my youth when that system was popular, playing that fucking game, and a bunch of ones made by him and other people. Even the Donkey Kong. So let's just do a quick run through here, see what they've got. So here, this is, I know Wagu's always talking about the Falcon. So here's a reissue of the Falcon. The Falcon.
And it does this thing where like it won't come out as standard if it's cold. Like if you plug it into the wall, it won't come out as standard. But if you plug it in, it's like it's fine until you unplug it. It's very strange.
Nice. Oh wow, look at that. Cool. Thank you. Nice. Comstar looks like they already left for the day. We got an old TRS 80 or Trash 80 as they called it.
But on the base,
The Defender. It looks terrible.
on the books, and ask not to aggregate all the information for Google. And put it into the CL. I need to put it online.
Crazy.
Sure.
All right, let's do some quick coverage here so we can see. So I already showed all the 8-bit computer stuff here.
The inspiration behind that was an app in a hard case that Steve saw at the hard TV screen.
Yeah.
There's some actual very valuable stuff in some of these tables. Look at that.
So I do think you're right. There's something more to just the fact that
Apple One right there. And they always have this book place here. All kinds of books and other gadgets. Just do a quick pass and see if I recognize any books. Pascal, Turbo Pascal, Leopard. Bunch of COBOL stuff.
Same as it ever was.
Cyber Defense Review. DOS books. Windows XP Pro. This is a good book, Premiere the Passion. That's one of the books I started with for Premiere. Because I always had a pirated version of it. Never had the actual one till like a decade or two later.
Oh, very cool. For realistic VFR.
Well, here's the famous Peter Norton book in the pink shirt. They always talk about that stupid Hackers movie. Good Sound Blaster.
Oh, I see, yeah. Yeah, that's what we were looking at earlier. We were looking at this out here. Create.
Sick. Hardware. How computers work. And I think there's another swap meet room down here. It's kind of like a free area. It's like you pick through all the junk that nobody wanted. It's either here or it's downstairs at the end of the hall. Got restrooms upstairs. I think it's down here. Yep, free table. I found some cool stuff here a couple years ago. Giant Arcus desktop scanner. Wow, they used to be so expensive. One chip plus.
Let's take this.
Just books. It's probably pictured pretty clean here. CD-ROM toolkit, FWB. I used to use hard disk toolkit. Retrospect tape backup. What is this? Speed sub. Orphan remote control. They always have like weird circuit boards here. Random stray circuit boards with shit on them. Look at these little things. These are always fun to pick up just for fun. Just random bits of shit. Drotech. Little souvenir trinkets. Why not? They fit in my pocket. Gimbal's acting all weird today. Frank Pascal. What the fuck is this shit here? There's a video board. Something. The ribbons are all cut on these. Transformers. Cables. Just random shit. Mach 2. Quick Link 2. I remember that software for the modem. Metal parts. USB terminal, soft turn, headphones. Old Dell power supply. Mega DOS per preference. Look at that. Oh wow, look at that. I had a friend who had one of these things. UMAX scanner. Monitor stands. Power supplies. It's supposed to be a cool looking keyboard, but it's pretty dorky looking. Futuristic style Dell keyboards. An old ass printer. It's trashed. Oh, sorry. There's some other old printers here.
I mean, it has a regular.
Yeah. Either pick clean, there was never much good here to begin with today. Let's check back tomorrow. There's a display. Crazy. So yeah, mostly silly crap, but I got a couple little trinkets. It's interesting, it has a little fiber port on it.
Had their own loader.
All right, quick and dirty through the old school consignment room. Probably cleaned out more by now. We've got a little display showing what's going on now. So David Crane game of the 80s is done. Tom Star is the one that's. Oh wait, impossible until it isn't. So there's Apple I computer, 1976.
Okay, listen. I'm going downstairs in a couple minutes. If you need me, text me. My phone is ringer's on. You
Couple seconds of this so I can read this later. I'm trying to read it now. And there it is. Original Apple I, not replica. Only $2 million. Look at that. What's this? For sale at 666. Apple I replica complete computer set. A whole bunch of these kits here apparently. 50 units. Alright, here's the leftover nerdy stuff. Wow, this one comes with a camera and everything. Olympus.
And so this year is like so much worse. It's so much
OM2N. This is a good camera back in the day. If you're a film user. I was looking at an OM1N when I was in college, but that's an OM2N. That's nice.
Yeah, no.
$80. I mean, that camera alone is worth $80. If I had the money, I would get it.
Altair. I don't. No?
Sony Micro.
Very, but Bob Rosen.
Look at this thing. Wishmaker 2. Digital training equipment.
It's okay.
Breadboard and everything.
Yeah. After. Have a lovely show.
It's old video equipment.
Yeah.
$25.
Yeah. Those are very cool.
These are so old. Old Betamax. Look at that. $75. So then we have a bunch of stuff on the wall. That's all sold. Got a massive hard drive back in the day. Super tall. Someone's taking a nap because it's one of those things. It's very tiring walking around here. All this crap. Poorly stored. A lot of stuff's dusty and rusty and power supply. Giant capacitors in there. Huge hard drives.
Every year, since 5 years ago when I really broke.
Next door. Huge.
It's been good for them financially, and so I just ways that this is signed for me and go off across the street after.
Look at this. $100 for this guy.
This will be fun.
Open it. So open this up. T1000, that's Terminator. Yeah, I think Toshiba had a little screen. No backlight. Hilarious. Got the Clacky keys here. These are all the standard keys. No Clacky keys. There you go. Those are the Clacky keys. I love this retro stuff. Trying to look futuristic. Like something out of 2001. All one piece. Before the iMac. Hardtech mouse. Athlon 2 processor, look at that. SCSI card. Those used to be expensive. Now it's only $15. Mouseman. OmniView, KVM switch. Modems. This looks trashed. Commodore 64, 150. One of these days I should get one of those. I never had one. North Star. That fucking massive capacitor there. Jesus Christ. And then the hard drives of all hard drives. Look at those things. $40. So that's 1.2 gigs for that. That's pretty good. It's not that old if it's 1.2 gigs. And these old guys, what are they called again? I forgot what these are called. The cartridge. Yeah, my mom used to work on a digital system. My dad's insurance office, loading these fucking platter drives. Individual platters like that. Old school. Digital computers. We got punch cards galore. Giant 8-inch floppies like you have on the original Fairlight. Some books here. 286, basic programming. Unix in a nutshell. Unix C shell, C primer. Of course, you have a massive slide rule on the wall for the super nerds. My dad actually has. I have it in one of my storage boxes somewhere. There's his original slide rule in a leather case that goes on your belt. So if you're super cool, you whip out your slide rule like it's a gun, and you challenge somebody. Oh, look at that Star Trek owner's manual. 1983 Sega Electronics. Wow. That's crazy. So yeah, not too much stuff this time. Or it was picked clean already. And you already saw the other stuff, so let's go into the exhibit. Got some cool artwork on the wall. I don't have time today, but since I'm coming back tomorrow, I'll walk, since we get into the museum for free when you pay to get in, I'm going to walk through the museum as well tomorrow. Because a lot of this will be repeats. 16 colors. Eight bits for life. 8 bits for life. Wow. That stuff. Fujitsu. I never saw that one before. Fujitsu Tower PC. What year is that?
What's that?
What year is that?
This is from 1997.
Okay.
But yeah, these weren't sold to consumers.
That's why.
These were mainly sold to hospitals.
Okay, makes sense.
I just got lucky. Someone gave it to me back in May.
I've never seen the grid pad. That's interesting.
Yeah, that one I got. I just got this one last weekend. But it's it's one of the earliest PDAs.
Yeah.
Just 1993, so just right after the Newton.
Yeah, I have a Newton Message Pad 120. I used to work at Apple, and I got them when they were brand new, pretty cheap. Mm-hmm. And crazy stuff. Had like dual PCMCIA cards in it. They're crazy.
Yeah, this one's only got the single.
Just single, yeah.
For it, and I currently don't have anything.
Oh yeah.
For it, but I did find a memory flash card that should work.
Oh,
should
cool.
Hopefully work with it according to the document.
Yeah.
So when I get home, I'll be able to.
Can you put a CF card in an adapter and put in there?
I tried. The smallest CF card I had was 8 megabytes, and it did not like that one.
Probably like a 1 meg.
I found a 5 meg that is documented as working with it.
Cool.
They say the documentation says either a 1 or 2 or a 5 meg SanDisk flash card. So before they were called SanDisk.
Oh, it was called SanDisk? I didn't know that.
It was called SanDisk, yeah.
That's funny.
But I found a 5 meg one on eBay for what I consider reasonable. And, And
cool.
it should be getting delivered either yesterday or today, but
nice.
But I live up in Seattle, so I won't be able to see it until I get back home from this show.
Cool.
And hopefully that'll work.
Is it just storage for files, or can you run programs off of it?
You should be able to run programs. It's,
Okay. Were there downloadable programs for it? I don't remember.
I haven't found anything, but the nice thing is that this is actually running DOS underneath it with,
Really?
with Geos for the UI. So
Like DOS 622 or what?
3.3.
Oh, okay, really old.
And then it's an NEC V20 running at 7.5 megahertz. So it's PC compatible. So
Okay.
So I'm gonna see just how far that goes.
Yeah.
with it, but,
So it's got the standard 640K limitation kind of thing.
640K,
Yeah.
It's got 1 meg of RAM, so 640K for conventional plus, and then the rest is RAM disk for storage without adding any extra.
And have to use a stylus. Can't use your finger, right?
You could, I guess.
could?
Well, if you use like your fingernail,
Yeah.
but yeah, you mainly would want to use the stylus.
And it had recognition, or it had used some kind of graffiti type thing?
Actually, it has palm graffiti.
It does.
for
Okay.
for its
That's
handwriting.
one thing I always hate about Palm is the graffiti. People bitch about the Newton all the time, but then I would see their writing and go, I can't read that. How is it supposed to read your writing?
Yeah.
And if you're patient and you draw the characters and you train it, there's that little training thing on the Newton, so it learns the characters you like.
Same
It
thing
works
with
very well.
Same thing with this one with Windows for pen computing.
Yeah.
If you train it,
Hey, train
it does
it.
really well.
Yeah.
But also if you learn graffiti,
Yeah.
that works really well.
But the great thing about the Newton is you could also just store it as digital ink and transcribe it later. And if it doesn't work, you just undo, and it's always there as digital ink.
Yeah.
So you didn't lose anything.
Yeah, I have a later ThinkPad that can do that, the TransNote.
Oh, yeah.
But it does it by actually taking real ink that you write on a notepad and
Oh.
get text while you're doing that.
There was a thing for the.
It's a big thing though, so I haven't brought it out in a little while because
yeah.
it takes up about this much table space to show it off.
I had one of the companies I worked at, this CIO, got that thing that you could. It's a special pen. It has a little transcriber signal thingy on it, and you write on real paper, and it traces your stuff real time on the screen. So you're writing real notes for backup, but you also have it going to the computer if you need it that way.
Yeah,
and it would transcribe it. It's pretty good.
This was a similar idea, but
Yeah.
the pen was acting as an active stylus.
Okay.
With a magnetic coil.
Yeah.
And then it was being picked up by
okay.
the grid underneath
Sure.
the notepad. So
Oh, that's cool.
You had to have the whole thing.
Yeah.
Then it could sync over to the.
Does it still work?
Oh yeah, it all works. Then the PC is just like a Pentium 3 with Windows
Okay.
2000.
Will it work on a modern PC? There's no driver, right? So.
Well, and it's all built to be one unit. So it's.
Oh, I see.
So
Okay.
they did make a standalone that
Yeah.
I think could connect to a desktop over serial.
Yeah.
I don't have one of those.
Okay.
I'm not they're not too common, and I'm not as interested in the paper stuff. I'm just interested in weird ThinkPads.
Sure.
And so.
Oh yeah, I love little devices. So.
Yeah.
Very cool. Thank you.
Yep.
So here's one of the last incarnations of Newton, the eMate laptop meant for schools, using Newton OS with a monochrome screen, no backlighting. So you can see right where the stylus is, right, the stylus on it. And they're clamshell, so they close up and they have a handle built in, very ergonomic, really sturdy. They were selling a bunch of these last year. I wonder if this guy bought it at the consignment last year or year before. There were a whole bunch for sale. You can see desktop mainframe computer. Game systems. Here you guys go. ZX Spectrum 2 with the built-in tape and everything. Very fancy. Are these free to take?
No, not please.
Okay.
These are by donation.
Oh, okay.
But I get one, yes.
Cool.
No one turned away for lack of funds.
No, that's fine. Just was curious.
Yeah, are you
I don't want to assume anything, so.
No, I'm not. I'm just hanging around just for the day. Welcome. Sure. Take care.
How popular is this mall? I've never seen the 2 with the tape and all that.
Yeah, the plus 2A. This was the last model they made.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it was the company was already bankrupt.
Yeah.
This was kind of like this is supposed to be the most durable one.
Because I have a bunch of friends in the UK, they swear by the ZX Spectrum of any kind. And I had a friend who had a Timex Sinclair, but it wasn't very popular around here that I remember when I was a kid.
Yeah, they didn't have them.
So this is in Europe, right?
Very Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah, the plus 2 is the best quality hardware, lowest compatibility of software.
Yeah, it's real sturdy. Cool. Is this all your stuff?
Yeah.
Wow. Even the Virtual Boy, huh? It's painful to play, right? Because they said it was never high enough on the table, so the kids had the neck and the red was kind of annoying.
No, it's fine.
Is all right?
Yeah, I mean, I played PS4 VR. It's the same thing.
And are these all the games they made for it?
It's a bunch of them. I'll have it set up for play in a bit. I'm
Okay.
still kinda
No worries.
setting
Yeah,
things up.
I'm here for both days, so I can come back.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you. Sega CD, Virtual Boy box. He's gonna set it up to play. He's got all these cartridges for it. Virtual Boy controller. Wow, look at this thing. Joystick and everything. We got little cupcakes here. Carrot mint cupcake. Copper that one. Yeah, just that. All right, on to the main room. All kinds of stuff in here. There's Whopper.
Okay, so in the old days, it was
War games. Have your own Whopper.
it was done from this and here and here.
All kinds of old titles. What's the rarest game you have, you think?
Maybe Neighborhood.
Oh, yeah.
Really
I
rare
have
one
it.
to find in the
It's good.
box.
Yeah.
Pyramid Patrol for the Laser Active. It's not
Okay.
that rare.
Oh, I never tried Laser Active. What was
I
that?
have is this is one of the Atari cartridges that were pulled out of the ground.
Oh,
Buried in
Alamogordo?
Mexico.
Yeah.
Alamogordo,
Yeah.
So this is one of them.
Wow.
See, it's been, got crushed by,
Yeah.
crushed by the steamroller before they put it in the ground. So,
So there turns out there weren't a lot of ET games, right? They're just whatever.
There were ETs.
But there wasn't like all ET
There
like
were-
they
there
said.
were
It
way
was
more copies of Defender.
Defender.
Tons of Defender.
That's too bad. It wasn't a bad game.
Yeah.
Also, I love Neighborhood. It's very clever.
It wasn't that the games that they were burying because they were so bad. They were just returned.
Oh, I see. They couldn't do anything with it.
It was better to just tax write-off and try to refurbish them.
Yeah, they made a whole lore about it, which is kind of silly.
Yeah.
With the-
And yes, it all sort of got tied up with the gaming crash and
Yeah.
everything like that, but it wasn't, it wasn't really.
And Warsaw didn't really need the extra bullshit, you know.
Now companies are just a lot smarter when they destroy things. They
Yeah.
just put it out further than the sale.
For sure, yeah. ColecoVision. How much would that cost?
That's 120.
120?
Yep.
That's one I always wanted. I had a friend had one.
Oh,
Got to play a few times. Castle Smurfenstein
yeah.
and
Yes. Yeah, I've got the games over there. So I got Smurf, Zaxxon,
Yeah.
Donkey Kong. Really got the best arcade games of that era for sure.
cool, yeah. Nice.
Oh, I have PS2 at home.
Well, we all have like a
What was the
I don't.
the laser active thing? What was that?
So Laser Active was made by Pioneer. It was a laser disc player.
Okay.
And it had the ability, like an expansion port. You put it in an expansion pack.
And the light gun.
No, not light gun.
Okay.
Just the expansion pack would let it play Sega Genesis and Sega CD.
No way.
Or TurboGrafx.
No way. I didn't know that.
And then if you had that expansion pack, not only could you play cartridges and CDs,
Yeah.
we could play special laser disc based games.
Wow.
So this has analog video as well as a Sega Genesis
Okay.
basically on the laser disc. And you play the game and it's got the background
Yeah.
done with video. And
Okay.
the sprites are kind of like layered
Oh,
on top
crazy.
of that. So this is 93.
Okay.
So basically it's like the best graphics anybody had ever seen.
Like a precursor to 3DO, basically.
Yeah, basically, or
Yeah.
like FMV games.
Yeah. Because I remember that's why I asked about the gun, because most of those games are shoot 'em up
Right.
games. Like you go to the arcade and you're not from around here. In the Western game, you got to shoot the guys. And, yeah.
So, yeah, similar in
And what year was that?
93.
Wow. And what it had to plug into what? What was it again?
Laser Active was the name of the player.
The player. Okay.
If you just bought the player, you could play the games.
Okay.
You had to buy it.
But it would play video, the video discs.
It would play the laser disc.
Okay. Right. Okay. Okay. Nice. Yeah. Do you have any of the players?
No, I don't.
Are they hard to find?
Very much.
I've never seen it. So I've gone through 2 laser disc players that were in good shape when I got them used a long time ago, and they just don't last very long. Sucks too because one was like multi-format. It did the 8-inch discs, I think was it 8-inch, and the full size and the CD size, and it had S video out on it, so you could use it to copy. Because I had a digitizing system for my computer that I used to do for videotapes and make my own DVDs.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And it needed the S video out. It made a huge difference.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But it would take me a total, for any movie, it took about 10 hours from start to finish because the encoding took like 2 hours, MPEG 2, and menu, I had to make my custom menus. It was fun, but it was like, I only did it for 2 or 3 movies. But I had like that South Park movie, guys, Orgasmo, you ever see that? It wasn't on DVD forever. So I had it on DVD long before it came out.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
So it was fun, yeah. But yeah, good stuff. I really liked Neighborhood. It was great. They should have made more titles like that. I know it's a lot of work, but
Right.
good stuff. Oh, there's Clay Fighter, right? Wasn't there Clay Fighter?
Well, I don't know if they actually, I guess they must have.
It was, right?
actually
Yeah,
built
yeah.
that play. Yeah.
Good stuff.
And then digitized it.
It's around the same time as the Oddity thing was Odd World. Yeah, the whole Odd World series.
It was just like CG rendering, but not clay.
But it was kind of clever like this, you know. Skull Bunnies? I haven't seen them. Wow.
That was similar, all play-based.
Same company?
Same people. It's
Wow.
a sequel to this. Yeah.
Oh, it was DreamWorks. Okay.
Yeah, DreamWorks published it, but the developer was just called the Neighborhood.
Oh, it was. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Thanks. That's very cool. Some more Atari stuff here. I should buy that Donkey Kong since I don't have it anymore. I ended up trading somebody else for something else. Forgot what I traded for. Slot Racers. Gorf's a classic. Wizard of War. How much is Wizard of War? If I had more money, I would get some. I still have a couple functioning consoles. Controllers. All Nintendo stuff and other things. I don't know what Huey is. Yeah, freehand, I used to use all this shit. Freehand. Old Extreme 3D, Fontographer. I loved all that shit. It's great. Used to make my own fonts. All right, let's do the perimeter first. T-shirts. Sound Blaster, Visicalc shirts, Prince of Persia, ATI, Energy Star. Oh, there's Clippy. There's a Clippy shirt. You had to have a Clippy shirt, didn't you? Oregon Trail, Ultima, King's Quest. Hello. Wow. Nice. Oh, I don't have any money with me today. I'm just gonna walk around. I'll be back tomorrow. If I have money, I'll get something.
Yeah, we also have a website though. It's got 50 other designs.
Okay.
You can make your own shirts. You got colors and then put your design on and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. Is it just t-shirts or do you do any embroidery stuff?
Just t-shirts.
Okay. I need to make some embroidered shirts. I was gonna buy one of those Brother embroidery machines, but it's too much work.
You gotta practice a lot.
Got to practice, and if you try selling it, and then shipping, and then people bitching, you got to return. It's like, it was a cool idea, but I'm going to try to find a place that does it for me.
You know, I've seen them at the booths and shopping malls.
Yeah.
Like the Great Mall, I think there's an embroidery place.
Yeah.
They kind of have an industrial grade embroidery machine in their booth. The ones you and I are
Like this kind of stuff, it's not a great pattern, but it's very durable.
Absolutely.
And
I want to do some hats.
and I have some great logos I had ideas for already. I had the software to make the embroider, like patterns and turn the graphics into patterns, but it's just the process.
No, I know, totally.
You get it lined up, and you always have print failures.
You do?
Because I do 3D printing, and they fail a lot.
Oh, me too.
So
I probably get 1 out of 5 that I actually like.
So as a business, it's kind of tough. Yeah. But thank you, good stuff.
With 3D anymore, with all the print formats.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you. All right, what do we got here? Sun. Look at all this shit. Big motherboards. There's the laser mouse with the grid. Got to use the grid, metal grid, otherwise the mouse doesn't work. It's a big sucker there. Animal auctions. History to your hands. So it's got artwork for all kinds of stuff, slides.
They don't actually.
Ah, that's cool artwork there. Yeah.
But yeah, so he came up with some ideas. This kid's counter where it goes up and they bought it.
Right.
It's crazy. It's Commodore.
Pardon me?
I couldn't remember how to play it. I mean,
Look at this guy.
Came back after a while. which is kind of
Tektronix.
funny. But actually, it's funny. I'm sure you did the same thing with Ben with Woz, which is people keep wanting to find
Wow, look at this guy. It's number 20. There's an Apple One. Nice wooden case. Replica. The power supply in a new side box. Or plexiglass.
Yeah, that's going to be a draw here.
Look at that thing.
Good game.
Of course, you gotta have one of these guys. Computing at its best. Look at that. It's like looking at the Matrix.
But the wires that hold the fuel caps on.
All right, so we got the perimeter, and we'll go to the middle section. Puppy trainer. That's your Radio Institute. Analog computer, 1961. Look at that. Looks like radiophonic workshop stuff. All right, we'll just do the perimeter. Apple stuff. Guys in lab coats. You gotta love the guys in lab coats. I think the center of the room is all the British stuff. They have the Z80 stuff. I remember that skiing game. It's funny. Versus Pitfall. We just There's the giant Macintosh room. They always have a Mac room with vintage stuff. So you gotta check that out. So you see he's got the programmer switch installed there. I had that on my 128K Mac. Let's see. Nice case for that one. We've got all travel bags from back then. They got the keyboard and Mac unit inside. Usually taken apart. And the inside has the signatures of all the creators. If you guys haven't seen that before. Supposedly the Amiga 1000 has the same thing, including the paw print of the dog of the guy who developed the Amiga. Pretty cool. I have all this stuff from the original Mac. The welcome manual, the welcome Macintosh cassette with Windham Hill music on it. And that's the bad boy right there. And the Mac Paint. I didn't keep all the boxes, but the artwork was pretty good back then. There's the Mac Plus going through that whole yellowing phase and the UV light. Then they had ADB later on for all the mouse and keyboard. And eggshell mouse.
I love the, I don't know what kind of dithering technique.
And they had the Mac Classic, which is modern version of the Mac Plus with some better specs. They had the old microphone on the side. There's SE with the dual disk drive, or you could replace one of those to make a hard drive. I think it was a 20 megabyte hard drive, I think. There's a platinum version of the SE. And then you have the color classic, more rounded looking, next to the regular classic.
It's kind of strange. Business presentation. Right,
Version After Dark.
Too much. I think they are backed up, but I haven't seen them in full stand.
More of the color classics over there. Cool stuff. Very cool stuff. And they're playing all the commercials. So it's really cool. A lot of people, they bring their personal stuff here, just like at a synth meet. Bring their personal equipment, so you want to respect that.
Yeah, but it's like up to a distro name. These are computers that you can still see.
These guys are doing something different in there. All right, let's keep going. Nabu Experience. Video pinball, wow. Oh, the Zircon joystick. Is that Zircon plugged in?
What's that?
Is that Zircon plugged in? I always wanted to try one.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can switch it over.
Oh, thanks.
Yep.
They always had some ad for it on TV, and then I finally found a place one time that had it, and I didn't have the money, and then I never saw one again.
Right.
Is it any good, or is this kind of a gimmick?
No, I think it's pretty good. This one's
Yeah.
like a little bit fluky.
Really?
So that's why I just kind of switched to the cheap
Oh, okay.
one. But yeah,
So
you're
you go
welcome
like
to-
that, and then just so that's the Zircon joystick, and you just move the head. Yeah, it works okay. Same idea. It's the leaf switches, right? The little metal. You can feel that.
And you can see nobody had ever opened that one up, like nobody cut the sticker on it.
Oh, you have to cut it to open it. Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? It works good enough.
That was the name of the company, Zircon. Why do they call it Zircon joystick?
I think that was just who manufactured
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And the Naboo, that was actually what they shipped with it. But their one,
Yeah, what is Naboo? Can you explain that real quick? I never heard of it.
yeah, so Naboo was from Ottawa Cable Company.
Okay.
And so instead of buying a computer, you could actually rent the computer
Wow.
from the cable company
Oh,
back
wow.
in the day.
Look at that.
Yep. And so what would happen is broadcast all the data on channel 31. This box would strip the Naboo data off
Wow.
and feed it into the Naboo computer.
Okay.
And this
So
is-
it's like a BBS
yeah, exactly.
kind of thing.
Yep.
And then what did they do when Web TV came along?
It didn't live that long.
Okay.
It was gone by 1986.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yep. So I've been joking about the fact that the 1984 Mac commercial, the lady with the sledgehammer.
Yeah, yeah.
The sledgehammer hit this company.
Yeah, yeah. It
Took
bounced
out.
off and hit
Bounced
them.
off of it, yeah.
I never heard of it. So is this is Ottawa, you said?
Ottawa, Canada.
So not all over Canada.
No.
Okay.
And then fast forward, this went out of business in '86, and then in 2022, the guy that had bought all the surplus at bankruptcy had stored these in his garage or
Wow.
in his barn, and the barn collapsed. So he noticed they're all sitting outside, so he fire sold these on eBay for $60 a pop.
So is it actual wood or is it a sticker?
It's a sticker.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's what one. So this is 2 units. Okay. Wow. Yeah, I never heard of it before. And then it's just like a really low baud modem to connect.
No, well, because back then, right, it was coming over the cable company.
Oh, it was
So they-
cable.
yeah, they could do 6.5 megabits per second.
Really?
Yep.
Over coax cable or?
Yep.
Okay.
Channel 31.
Yeah.
I mean, back then it was analog, right?
So if you went to channel 31 on your normal cable, it'd be like.
Exactly.
Okay.
But
And
this box could read it and,
Wow.
and pull, it was an IF DMOX, right?
that's wild.
Pull off channel
That's pretty
31.
forward thinking. I don't know why no one else did that.
And there were a couple of other services like FujiNet, I
Yeah.
guess. And there was a Sega version, I guess.
Wow.
Too. So the concept wasn't completely new, but
Oh, okay.
we got really far in the
So it ended 86. When did it start?
81.
81. Wow, that's a
Yeah.
long time.
And what's kind of cool is you can see it kind of in action. So like right now, there's only 64K of memory, right?
Yeah.
So all of this is loaded in memory. But if you wanted to play a game, so let's go down to Family Fun, video games. All of that's in memory.
Wow.
Right? But if I want to do Mummy's Tomb, for instance, now it's got to go get it.
Right.
And so now what they've done.
Oh, so you have a
is-
local server for it.
Right. They
Okay.
were able to reverse engineer it, and now
Wow.
it's loading.
Look at
So
that.
now that menu is not in memory anymore, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's just the game.
And this is what system? Is it like an Apple II or what is it?
Z80.
Oh, it's a Spectrum. Okay. Interesting.
So, but again, I can't.
Yeah, they weren't popular in the U.S. I had one friend had a Timex Sinclair when I was a kid,
Right.
and nothing else. All my friends in the UK loved that system,
Exactly.
but I've never played it except for stuff like this.
Right.
So the graphics are pretty good, actually,
It was a pretty awesome
Yeah.
computer.
like Apple II.
Right. And the
Yeah.
story I like to tell is like, so this is what. Let's see. There we go. So this is what you would have had from 1977
All
to
right.
81. And you couldn't have your
Like
your
the
buddies over anymore,
Odyssey.
Right.
The horrible
They'd make
Odyssey,
fun of
yeah.
you.
And
So
they have
you
those
had to
color
get-
overlays and stuff. I love that Angry Video Game Nerd version where he does it. This is fucking stupid. This is terrible. And then they had the other one that had like you turn the wheel. It was like a shotgun in there.
Yep.
And that was just silly times.
Exactly.
I'm a 2600 nut. I mean, as a
There
kid,
you
I
go.
just went crazy for it.
So this was, you're bugging your parents like,
Yeah.
you got to get a real computer. So this would actually give you that.
That's cool.
That experience.
I just went to the David Crane, Gary, or was it Gary Kitchen?
Uh-huh.
Greg Kitchen? I forgot his first name. The guys from Activision.
Oh, great.
They just did a lecture on how they program those games. It was crazy. I had never heard that detail before. It was really cool.
I wish I'd seen it.
Well, you can watch it. I have the whole thing streaming on my channel.
Oh,
So
nice. Okay, cool.
just look up Synth Addict on YouTube.
Okay.
It's mostly music, but I do events and other shit on there.
Nice.
And you can see yourself too. So say hi. And what's Naboo? Some guy's name?
portrait?
No, no.
Okay, I'll get you a portrait. So Naboo was natural access to bi-directional utilities, supposedly.
Okay.
But really, it was a small electronics company, and they came up with this idea, got some money to bootstrap it, and then move forward with it.
James Cameron stole that.
So, all right, let's get you your print.
Yeah, look at this.
So there's the camera.
Look at this crazy. I look like a monster on there.
I call it driver's license quality.
Yeah. It's kind of like the, what's the Nintendo camera called? The little, you know what I'm
Not
talking
the
about?
one for the Wii, but the one before that.
The
right?
handheld one, the
Yeah.
one for the, yeah. Wow, look at that. Beautiful. Well, thank you. That's very cool, though. Yeah, the talk was amazing. I got the whole thing. He goes on and on about how he programmed Donkey Kong with painstaking, like with the graph paper and all that shit. And then, unfortunately, David Crane had less time to talk about Pitfall, which I really love. But he went pretty quickly and went through all the details and explained the crazy procedural system he used to build all those worlds,
Right.
all the different pages. And to make them feel connected, you had to have a little bit of memory so it could go back and look like you came back where you came from. It wasn't just some other screen. So you had, it was like, I think it was 4 or 5 places saved before it would maybe lose it. I don't know, I forgot what it was. And
Calls back to
something like that, yeah. It had a little logic system.
They created back in the
Yeah, definitely.
64K.
Well, especially with Donkey Kong, because everything had to be done with half screens, because the way the memory worked. So you can't have a continuous slant if it's supposed to be a mirror image. Because you couldn't have, now it's going down the other way,
Right.
and a barrel's not going to go up and down a hill. So he finally figured out how to do it, because the guy at Activision, he was with Coleco,
Right.
told him, like, if you work for us, we tell you how to do the slant. And so, I know I have to figure it out. So he finally sat and figured it out. But the normal process is either a direct copy
Right.
or a mirror.
Okay.
And he had to make it some other way because the diagonals had to go like that across the whole screen. And he figured it out. And amazing.
Amazing stuff.
Yeah, crazy. Well, thank you. It's very. I learned something new today. Good stuff. And it was fun to play the Zircon. I never tried that before. Are they still around? Do you see them online?
I bought that on eBay. Actually.
Okay. How much was it roughly?
$20.
Okay, so not bad. Yeah, cool. I'll get one. Yeah, thank you. Oh, sharp. Good AOL stuff. Some serious AOL fans. Some Mac games. On what is that? Some kind of Centris or Performa. Oh, LC475. That's what it is. Oh, sorry. My friend had an LC3. I learned how to do 3D modeling on an LC3 way back when. And we put all the LucasArts games on here too. LC2, LC.
Some kind of industrial dog.
That's way before my time in computers. There's Moof. You guys know about the dog cow story from Apple? Moof. Looks like a dog, looks like a cow. They called it Moof. He's doing some repairs. I like the Moof. I used to work at Apple when they still had it on the lawn. And they took all the icons away. SideQuest 88. Love those things. So they had the mini SideQuest. All different SideQuest drives. I had started with a 44. Then I had a 270. And stuff.
Solder welds. Like, I remember.
Private mode. I hope my audio is not messed up. Hey, is anyone in the chat? Can you tell me if you can still hear my audio? Because I'll have to call her back. I can't interrupt my video right now. I'm on a roll. I got to get through this room. So, looks like one person's watching. Yay, thank you. So I'm looking at Amiga shit now. So I'm going to ask this guy some stuff because I don't know much about Amiga. My friends never had them. There's the workbench stuff, the trash can, blue SCSI. It's ironic they had the iOmega click drive after the click of death that took over the zip drives. It's funny. Got all kinds of media here. Look at that. Even the Bernoulli drives, the giant floppy drive they had before the zip drive. Cubic computing. Look at that guy. Fancy looking cubic computing computer. Wow. Is that a still or is that an actual live 3D program?
What was that?
Is that a still or a live 3D program?
That should be live. I wonder.
You know which one it is? Because I used to use all of them.
Yeah, somebody. I think it. I don't know. Maybe somebody paused it. But yeah, I have.
Oh, Chameleon. Okay.
Yeah, Chameleon.
I never used Chameleon. It's one I don't know.
Did you work for NVIDIA or?
No, but I oh, that's why it's an NVIDIA viewer kind of thing.
Yeah, it's an NVIDIA demo.
Oh, okay, that's why. Because I use Electric Image, Strata Studio Pro, Stratavision, Ray Dream Designer, Infinity, all those crazy programs on the Mac. Oh, I see. It's one of their famous demos that's stripped down. Oh, yeah, that's cool. I remember they had Eve. Do you remember Eve?
I do not.
The little fairy on the leaves? When they showed that, you knew they're going to have great 3D porn because the skin was amazing.
I think I have it on here, but it crashed the system.
Yeah, it's real heavy duty. It was a SIGGRAPH like 96, 97, something like that.
Yeah, and a friend of mine who worked for Apple back then and up until 2019, he's like, yeah, I've got some old NVIDIA 3D demos.
Nice.
And he sent them to me. He's like, you show them off, see if any NVIDIAns come through and do a double take.
Did you have to install it or is it just a player?
I had to kind of uncompress them and move
Install
them to a folder. But yeah,
okay.
I got that one and I've got the Bugs.
It'd be nice to find those, yeah.
Bugs and Chameleon are the only ones I've been able to get running.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, the other ones just crash the system.
That is pretty cool, though.
Yeah, I'm very happy.
This is like Ants or something?
I believe so. I've not run this one for very long, but you can also move around, I guess. I did not have enough time to really explore these as much as I wanted.
It's cool to have the demos though. That's nice.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess this is showing off like lighting and stuff.
Oh, there you go. Now they're coming.
There we go.
Nice.
And they have. I didn't know they had sound either.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, that's detailed. But yeah, these are. I'm very happy to have these. I told my friend if he could, he should probably like archive these somewhere.
Oh yeah, I'd love to try them. Yeah.
Yeah, so other people can try them out.
Because they got to be past any kind of copyright, or nobody gives a shit anymore.
I would hope so, but knowing NVIDIA,
I think Eve was ATI actually.
it might have been.
Yeah, if you should find that one if you can play it, because that one is beautiful. She's got transparent, dragonfly wings on her body, and she's wearing a really skimpy kind of leafy bikini thing, and she's kind of sitting on a branch and kind of swaying back and forth. And you know, some guys went crazy for that when they saw that.
Oh, I can imagine.
Bunch of shut-ins, you know.
Yeah, because I have a whole folder here. And yeah, there's fur and squid, but those will crash the system.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. I know there's key combos to make it do things,
Oh, okay.
but I've never found those.
Well, you know about the. I think there was a couple with the Apple QuickDraw 3D built in to system 752 and higher. You know about the secret ones, like there was the Iguanosaurus one.
I grew up with those, but I do not remember like that.
So you had to have the certain version. Oh yeah, that's cool. There it is. You had to have the certain version of OS, and you go into the About This Mac, and it's either a key combination. You click something, and it shows. I used to work at Apple at the original company store before they had all the other stores at Infinite Loop, and they had a photograph of the campus we were on, and a flag pole with a 3D flag, and you move the mouse to move the wind, and it's waving, and it's Iguanosaurus, and it has like a power cord for a tail, and you can move the wind to make the flag ripple. It was really good quality 3D.
I know the flag Easter egg. The one on, but I think it was earlier than that, where you could like drag the mouse so fast it would like rip the flag off the pole.
Yeah, you make the wind go crazy. Yeah, I used to do it because I had to find something to occupy my time in the store and stand around all the time. So I found Apple had like a camera on top of the roof looking at Highway 280. So I do a live video feed once in a while. We even watched the OJ trial verdict on that screen as a group, and I was always doing some demos. I brought demos back from SIGGRAPH of cool stuff at the time, just to have some cool stuff to show on the screen. You know.
What time did you? What period did you work for Apple?
Several times, but that was way back in '95.
Because did you work around the late '90s?
Yeah. No, I worked there 95, 96. It was like a contract thing. It was a short position. Some woman's on maternity leave, so I filled a spot basically. And then I worked corporate other stuff for a while. Came back 2014, I think it was. Did QA for Aperture photo software.
Ooh.
And then they killed that project. Then I went to work another department, IS&T, Apple Store back of house stuff, IT stuff at back of house. And then some other stuff. And then I went back to some other companies. So
yeah, I was gonna say, does the name Garth Beagle ring a bell?
kind of, but I met so many people.
Yeah.
Like, what the funny thing is, in company store when I worked there, Guy Kawasaki came in one day, and I always watched his speeches and stuff and saw his picture, so I knew him from a distance. Like, oh shit, Kawasaki's here. But he came in and asked the dumbest questions I've ever heard. Almost like he was trolling me or being weird, because he's very technical. He knows the shit inside and out. But he asked me some of the dumbest questions I literally have heard any time in that store. And I just answered him honestly. But I'm like, why is he asking these questions? I feel like saying, you're Guy Kawasaki. What's wrong with you? But I was polite.
Trying to play incognito, maybe.
Maybe he's just like having a bad day. He's just fucking around with me. But that was one of my brushes with famous folks there. It was kind of fun.
The only brush I ever had was 2010, day of the iPhone 4 released. I went to a free music thing in San Jose.
Yeah.
And looked over, noticed some people riding on Segways. I was like,
Oh,
that's
Wozniak. Yeah, he's a Segway guy.
Yeah.
He does races, and he plays like some kind of field hockey on Segways or something like that. He's way into Segways. He's gonna be here tomorrow, I heard.
Yeah.
So.
I kind of hope he tours the floor, and
It'd be pretty funny.
I'd love to see him come by and be like, what the hell did you do to this thing?
Yeah, for sure. My other thing, I always go to Whole Foods in Palo Alto shopping, and that's when Steve Jobs lived in the neighborhood. And one day we crossed paths on the crosswalk right in front of Whole Foods. So that was kind of funny. I didn't say anything. I just like, oh, that's Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs, from what I understand, is like one of those guys like the admire what he does, but you don't want to meet your heroes kind of person.
He was important, and they needed him to fix the company, but he was an asshole. Yeah. So, in fact, I had friends that worked there at the time, when my second time there, that had the famous elevator ride. You know about the elevator ride? So
I've heard.
HR was pissed because he was getting people fired all the time for dumb shit. And it's only a 3-story elevator ride. And most people worked on the second or ground floor. You didn't even need to ride the elevator. But he would take it from the top just to screw with people from the top floor. And one of my neighbors who was doing other QA stuff shared 2 occasions where he did the elevator ride. Once was, he goes, oh great, here I am in the elevator. He answered all the questions properly. Steve really knew the company well. He knew all the projects going on, all the major players. And when he had a second ride later, he remembered him and said, how's that thing going? Is that going? Yeah, everything's great. And whatever. So he survived 2 rides, and Steve liked him. So but he knew what he was doing. Most people was like, I don't know, and then you get fired. So funny stuff.
I do wonder, because like I know Steve was the product guy, more so than a numbers guy.
Yeah.
I'm kind of enthusiastic about John Turnus taking over, because like it felt like Tim Cook was more of a numbers guy.
I wish Federighi would take over. He's a much better face of the company and a really good speaker.
Federighi, I like him as a speaker, but I also feel like under his watch the software quality is kind of like
did it?
Gone downhill.
Oh, I didn't follow that so much.
Yeah, like I like him.
I'm just going by vibe, because I never liked Tim Cook. I thought he was a pain in the ass.
Tim Cook is too much of a numbers guy, and I feel
he's too milquetoast too when he talks. There's no like strength when he talks. He's just.
If you want to ever see him break character, look up the announcement where he announces the 2015 MacBook.
Yeah.
Like when he brings it out, he actually shows like emotion for a minute.
Oh, okay.
He's like, look at it go, and he's like smiling with the biggest grin. I'm like, can we get more of that, Tim? Please?
No, that's just once. You got him once. That's it. So I saw you have an Amiga shirt. Do you have Amigas?
No.
Okay.
This is just making fun of Amiga.
Oh, I see. Amiga.
I wore it last year because I was trying to troll the Amiga people a little bit. They come by, they're like, that is hilarious. And
I never had one, so I don't know much about them, but I know it's important for video toaster and Lightwave and all that shit. So
I actually have a NewTek TriCaster at home that was built into one of these shuttle systems.
Oh, wow.
And I was thinking about bringing it, but I would have to like really study up on it.
Yeah.
And the software, the resources out there are not very well documented.
Yeah. My favorite Lightwave experience is I was at SIGGRAPH one year at the Lightwave booth, and William Shatner and Dick Van Dyke come on stage to talk about Lightwave. You think that none of them knows shit about this stuff, right? William Shatner certainly didn't. He was just brought to talk and go, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, wow. Ooh, all that kind of stuff, just like he does, right? Dick Van Dyke is a Lightwave master. He came and talked about the years he's been a user, making stuff at home. And one of the shows he was on at the time, his son was producing it, and they needed set extensions for some scene coming up. He goes, oh, I'll do those. He went home and built them overnight for the show the next day on fucking Lightwave on his home computer. So Dick Van Dyke, of all people, at like 70-something, was doing high-end Lightwave stuff on his home computer.
That's awesome.
That was crazy.
funnily enough, at VCF SoCal earlier this year, the guy over there running the PLCs, he found a video toaster going for cheap at consignment, bought it. He's like, damn it, now I need an Amiga.
Yeah. I don't use Lightweight that much. I mean, it's cool for its time, but I always thought the interface was clunky. But it's an important step in the 3D world. So.
I would like to get an Amiga just to see what it's about.
And Babylon 5 was a great show, and the graphics are excellent. So.
Oh yeah, the guy over at the Metro Media stuff was like, when we were driving down to SoCal, he was like watching Babylon 5.
Over here?
Yeah.
Oh, I did see an Amiga over there. That's a 1000?
I don't know too much about his.
Supposedly that one has all the signatures in it, like the old Mac. The shell inside has all the signatures and the dog's paw print. So.
And then people try to put them on eBay, like, oh my God, it's signed.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, I gotta ask him about that. But nice talking to you. Thanks.
You too.
20. I shot from one of these balloon trees. I bought 2 of these. Some guy had 2 of them, and I was like, hey, what do you do? They're like, yeah, pricing.
It's got the Amiga 500 hard drive. But I'm not sure if that's a 500 or 1000. I thought the 500 was smaller and branded 500. I gotta ask him about this thing.
And then they started that's the 44 like you have, and the 90 is the discs look exactly the same.
Yeah. Could it also read the 44s? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
The 90 could read the 44s, it could write. The 150 could write to these as well, which is kind of cool. But none of the other ones can read this one. This one's like their beta product. And then the 230 is the biggest custom that they did before Kim Edwards came in and went, we need to expand our market share. How do we do that? We need to appeal to consumers. Let's make a device that doesn't rely on an art, a physical property of
But it's the same floppy inside that's in the zip, just bigger, right?
No, it's smaller. That's the zip drive.
No, I mean the Bernoulli. I'm talking about Bernoulli. It's a floppy medium inside there, right?
Yeah, the mechanism with which it works is different.
Right.
So
no click of death in it.
Right, because they rely on the fact that when a fluid, including air, moves faster, its pressure drops. And so when you put the disc in, the air moving across the disc and across the head causes the disc to be pushed up
Theory of lift.
the pressure differential.
Yeah, Bernoulli's theory of lift.
Into the head.
Yeah.
So when the power goes out, the disc moves away from the head. It never crashes.
Oh, okay.
Whereas hard drives at the time, you had to park them. Because if you didn't, the heads would land on the disc and you were screwed. With this, you could yank the power cable and the disc would be fine.
When they used to sell these at Macworld Expo when they were still new, they had a demo with a case with talc blowing like crazy.
Yeah.
And also the thing banging.
Yeah.
And it wasn't missing a beat.
No.
With all that debris and all that trauma, it was still working.
These ones are much more like floppy drives. The head touches the disc, moves back and forth on the surface of the disc. That's when the click of death comes in and
it damages other ones.
The disc.
It's like a virus,
So,
I love the fact that they had a click drive though. The click of death
the
click
worst
drive.
bit is that this was released 6 months before the class action.
Oh really?
So they had to rename this.
Yeah.
This got renamed to Pockets It. Because they'd done all this branding and they announced it in a trade show, and everyone was like, wow, that's amazing miniaturization. Like, this is a floppy drive in the palm of my hand. Like, think about how small it is. This is a 40 megabyte disc, and this is how it goes together. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And it makes it a really satisfying click sound, so we're going to call it the click drive.
The trick seemed to be though, if you bought one of the original ones,
they were fine.
It was great. You bought all these knockoffs and later versions, they were really shitty.
You know why it happened, right? So there was a piece of. They were manufactured in one factory, and then they were going great guns, but they couldn't keep up with manufacturing. So they spun up a second manufacturing facility, and while they're doing that, they cut costs.
Yeah.
And so they're like, well, what can we take out to be able to build the things faster to meet the demand that we have?
Yeah.
And there was this 85-cent piece of foam that was specially manufactured for the zip drive. They're like, the lead time on this foam is annoying. We're just going to cut it out. It's not really necessary. And what the foam did was it
Buffer.
It prevented the head from smashing into the disc.
Oh.
And so
it's a Commodore 1541 drive.
yeah, and so
Nice, terrible.
and so now your disc, if your disc gets out of calibration, it smacks the head into the disc over and over and over
Because
again.
I have some original SCSI ones that still work, no
Yeah,
problem.
This is original because this one works.
And I have a Roland group box that has them built in as the drive,
Yeah.
and that still works.
Yeah, some of the internal 100, some of the later internal 100 mags are really bad.
Yeah.
These ones, where they redid them,
Yeah.
they're okay.
We had these like beige Epson knockoff ones, and they were shit. They just always broke.
This one is a beige Epson knockoff one.
It still works?
Well, it still works because it's actually got the contents of a SCSI. I wanted to use it with my Amiga, and there's no way I could get software to
Yeah,
run
yeah,
this
yeah.
as a parallel. So this is a SCSI, but they only ever sold this as parallel.
Nice.
So actually, on the back of here,
Yeah.
I had to scratch
Oh,
out
look at that.
the little things to put the switches in. With
Yeah,
the
yeah.
motherboard To be able to,
That's cool.
yeah. So now I have a SCSI beige drive to go with the. It's exactly the same color.
Yeah.
Don't tell me it's not.
By the way, which model Amiga is that?
Amiga 500.
That is the 500.
The
Okay.
500. It's a Rev 6A board.
Which so the 1000 had the signatures in it inside the shell.
The
Yeah.
2000 had the
2000.
Oh,
Because it also had the dog's paw print. The creator's paw print of the dog. His dog was in there too. It's like the Mac, the original Mac that has the signatures.
has signatures on the cable, not on the case. The
Oh.
2000 has the names on the board.
On the board.
The
Okay.
tiny and the.
Oh, okay.
and they're printed on the board.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Yeah, I never had a chance to own one. None of my friends had them.
Yeah, I just picked this up like a month ago when I was
Oh,
in
yeah?
England. And I got this, and I brought it home in a suitcase.
Yeah.
In the box.
Yeah.
In the suitcase. My wife was like, we're at the airport, about to fly home, and she's like, do we have space in the suitcase for this? And I was like, we might have physical space, but I'm not sure we have weight.
Yeah.
Let's just weigh let's weigh all the cases first. So I get the first case, and it's 22.9 kilograms. I'm like, okay, not this one. The next one, 23.0 kilograms. Okay, not this one. 5 suitcases are all within 0.2 kilograms of the limit.
Wow.
So she was like, I guess I'm keeping this in my bag then. I'm like, yes you are. Yes you are. I got the boxed Amiga 500. I had the box for the Amiga 1200 I bought 6 years ago that I didn't have space to bring the box back. I filled that with games and joysticks and all sorts of things.
So,
I had this, I had an A590, I had some memory expansions, I had a bunch of Amiga stuff.
so the 500 just stripped some of the memory and stuff from the original 2000 or whatever, 1000.
Yeah.
Well,
Because it had the same
although they
processor
did
chips,
fix
right?
They did fix some problems with the 1000 when they made the 500. So although it is officially inferior,
It's a
unofficially
really
it's
good
better.
machine.
Because you still have all the sound chips and the
What
3D
happens
chips.
is, you know, the 2000 has a computer and then a backplane for all the cards.
Yeah.
That backplane is a Zorro 2, I think. Board.
On the 1000.
The Zorro connector is here on this one, and it only has the one.
And on the 1000
That's
as well.
yeah, and on the 1000.
On the 1000 it had the side slot.
Yeah.
So this is literally a single unit. Right, you needed a separate keyboard, you needed a separate, like, you know, you didn't have a hard drive or anything.
But it's great because electronically they're the same.
So you couldn't put a video toaster in this one.
No. But it's not because it can't. It's because it doesn't. Where do you put it?
But you-
Oh, it has to go inside.
Actually, but you
Yeah.
can.
Okay.
Because as a
Yeah,
guy,
there
you
is an
made this-
external
If
check
you, there's like a
extension.
Oh, really?
card thing.
It sits down here and gives you a bunch of Zorro cards.
Ah,
So
okay.
you could if you really wanted to.
Yeah, yeah.
Really want it.
But if you were going to spend that much effort, you just
Five.
pay $4,000 for a 4000 and be done with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have, or had, a bunch of zip disks that I password protected.
Right.
I forgot the password.
Oh no.
Oh.
Oh no.
Is
I mean, we
cracking
can
the
image
password-
them, but I don't know about cracking the password.
Okay, is that a function of the zip drive?
I think
or
it's
the
a
Mac?
function of the Mac.
Does it encrypt each
Oh, if you
sector,
encrypted
though?
it on the Mac, yeah, you're kind of screwed.
I mean, we could image the disk, but it'll still be password protected.
Okay. Okay, I threw them away.
Okay.
I have a few discs, but I don't know the drive.
Somebody brought me 20 of these yesterday, and I was like, I've got a bunch of these. Can we do anything with them? And I'm like, well, actually, I have several of the working drives. So we sat there and imaged a bunch of these yesterday. I've had a few people bring. Thank you. A few people bring zip discs, SideQuest discs, magneto optical discs. I've imaged 20, 30 discs today.
Were these considered good at all? The clicks or the
I mean, they were the last ditch attempt.
last thing you had?
They were like, this was mostly aimed at photographers.
Right.
So I think about.
I never got a chance to see them or try them, so I don't know.
Think about your compact flash, right? Your compact flash is
Yeah.
10 megabytes. They
Yeah.
fly. They cost you $200. You want to go and take loads of photos, but you don't want to spend $1,000 on compact flash. Well, as a filmmaker, you spend $199 on this,
Yeah.
which has a compact flash.
Oh, nice.
card reader.
Yeah.
You take, it also comes with a battery pack that's rechargeable. You take your clip disc, you put it in the drive, you close it up, you put your compact flash in, you press this button and it moves everything with your compact
Wow.
flash onto there and gives you a
That
empty
is
compact
clever.
flash. So now this is your mass storage. And if you want to, if you're at a wedding in 2 days, just take a bunch of these, they cost $20 each.
However, could you, as a photographer though, could you depend on them? Because those pictures are lost, you're screwed.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I would say, like, I'm a filmmaker, and the alternative in those times, if you were into film, was to pay somebody to use the reels back and forth,
Yeah.
or if you didn't have anything like this that was mobile storage,
Or buy
you would
hundreds
pay
of-
salary.
buy hundreds of
paying
CF
them
cards.
out was cheaper than paying
Yeah.
somebody for the week.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also the smart media, so you can put smart media.
Oh, I hate MMCs. Because you got to make sure they're 3.3 volts or 5 volts, and they're not very durable. Because I do a lot of music stuff, and some take smart media, and I hate those things.
These aren't particularly durable. I mean, like.
Better than
Put it
MMCs.
in your pocket, like it flexes a lot, and if that flexes more, then it's just a one closed pocket anymore.
Yeah.
But if you think about like what they did, it's like this is the drive, this is what's inside this PCMCIA card. This one doesn't work, obviously.
Yeah.
And so you can take this cartridge, and this is how it works. You put it in, so it like goes in.
Oh,
and
look
it
at that.
clicks in place.
Oh, that's
now
cool.
You've got this head move back and forth like a normal hard drive head would. It's very different from floppy.
Yeah.
Floppy normally goes in like this. This is coming in from there. So they're really hybridizing
That is clever.
hard disk technology and floppy technology to get something that potentially solves a very niche need.
So this versus this, what was the price difference?
I think this one was like $250.
Okay.
Which came with this really nice
Yeah, that's cool.
carrying case. You could leave this. I mean,
So you
there's
don't
one
bend with
in this
this.
machine, in the back of this machine. PCMCIA slot in this machine. This could be left in the machine, and you never have to take it out. You can just
But these are just little hard drives, or it's not magneto-optical, is it?
no, it's like a floppy disk. You saw what's
Oh, it's a
inside
floppy.
here.
Oh, right, okay.
It's just like, it's the same like.
Oh, okay, I see what they did. Okay.
Plastic. It's
Right,
just-
right.
It's miniaturized.
Okay.
And yeah, this is, if I take a known good disk, this clicks in to the.
That is
this
clever.
in your laptop, and then this is a known good disk. This clicks in, and when you finish with it, you just click it out.
Pretty clever, yeah.
And it's, you know.
I was big into magneto-optical for a while. I had the 650 ones and the.
I mean, I have a couple of magneto optical drives on there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The problem with this is that it was fighting a market that was radically changing quickly. Because Flash was expensive, but they didn't know how to make it at scale. They figured that shit out. And so while this was coming to market and being amazing, everyone was like, well, actually, it's not going to cost $200 for a 10 meg Flash.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not soon you're going to go to get 128 meg for $50. But why do you need to spend $250 on this and drive thing when you can buy a bigger drive? And so, you know, then USB comes along. That messes up as well. These companies didn't stand a chance. But the technology just went way beyond what they were able to go with. iOmega tried to tried to corner a bunch of different markets. They started off with like
Well, they have the Jazz too, the actual hard drive platters. Yeah.
they started off with business only. Then they started doing more commercial, consumer grade. They're like, well, this is fine, but we want to get past like 100 or 250 megabyte limit. Let's go to hard drive technology. They do these Jazz Platinum based discs. So they have some challenges. This disc has to sit in this drive in a very particular place and spin at high speed. And this is a lot heavier than that. So when this is spinning, its inertia is so much more. And so it causes these drives to vibrate like crazy.
Well, it's like when I had the big Magneto optical drive, so a full height drive. When it was reading, it would shake the table. And I thought, because we're in earthquake country, I go, I'm in another earthquake? And it was the mode drive. It was just... Yeah.
So these had a lot of issues with head crashes, these would vibrate a bunch and cause all sorts of problems. They went back to the floppy based, the plastic, it's much lighter, right? So you don't have to worry about the inertial.
But it's a higher quality formulation than the zip?
I mean, it must be plus the technology, the control technology, the precision of this.
What about Sparks? I never tried a Spark. Are they any good?
I would not touch it if I were you.
Yeah, because the 270s were bad enough.
So the only thing that they did, the last thing that iMedia did was the Rev drive. And they tried to solve that problem I mentioned just now.
Yeah, I never saw that one either.
So this is 35 gigabytes.
Wow.
It's very hot. It's hot because there's a motor inside this. So the
That's
big
crazy.
problem with what I was just describing is that balancing this on the motor, getting the balance right. There's got to be some give in the mechanism to be able to remove it. But with if you can bolt it down, you know it's going to stay still. It can balance it. You can make sure it's good. So that's what they did with this. The head still moves in and out from the drive, but the motor is inside this.
Wow.
And in fact, just behind the shield, which I can't lift up because this is a good working disc, there's a little circuit board with some pogo pin points. And inside here, there's some pogo pins, and they connect in, and that's how it connects this drive to the drive circuitry.
Wow. What's it called again? That's
It's called a Rev drive.
Rev drive, yeah.
REV.
Oh, okay, yeah. Wow. What year was that?
That was 2004.
Oh, okay.
So this is their last ditch attempt to corner still this doesn't make sense anymore because the CD's 700 meg, right? You know, one of these is not much more than that. You can buy 10 CDs from Walmart for $10.
Although my first burner double speed was $1,800.
Right, and by this point, they're down to $200.
Yeah.
And the media is you can buy at Walmart and stuff now. You don't
Well, back then the media was like $15 a disc, so
So now they're like, well, let's take on the big storage market, 35 gig plus. So they did this one, and they up to 120 gig. But USB came along, flash storage kept growing and growing and growing, and you got 128 gig that, or 128 gig, SD card. Why would you want?
and I'm playing 4K videos off a stick on my TV.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's just
So these ones are pretty good.
yeah. I had a 44 a long time
These
ago.
ones weren't so good, but they weren't bad, but they weren't so good. These ones were great.
Is that a 135?
That's a 135.
Yeah. The
We had
270s are worse.
We had one of these at school, and this was great. I had like all of my homework on those.
You have the certain sounds they make, and you know when it's good or not. And the 270 would go, "Nying, nying, nying, nying," and you go, okay, now it's working. But you hear this like click, and the note, nying, nying, and you go, oh, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
So
This is a 230. This one's pretty bad. They made the 1.5 gigabyte one as a shoot
A
back
side
at the Jazz 1 gigabyte. It was
I never
more
saw that
plastic.
either. Oh,
This one was actually good.
really? Okay.
But they were losing the battle. They were both losing to iOmega, who had amazing brand recognition and all these OEM partnership deals, as well as fighting back against the influx of other storage devices that didn't require expensive drives. So they're like, we've got to do one last addition. How can we cut the cost as much as possible?
Yeah.
They're like, well, we can reduce it to about a gigabyte, and if we cut all of this cost and all of this cost, we'll come up with a Spark. And this was sold for $99 for a gigabyte.
Wow.
And they failed like crazy. You leave the disc in and you turn it off, it fails. You take that disc and you put that disc in another drive, it fails.
Oh, similar to the.
Like,
Yeah.
It's terrible.
What about Orb? I don't remember Orb either.
Yeah, I have an order.
So the guy who founded SideQuest,
Yeah.
Syed Iftikhar, he used to work at Sugar. He'd done a lot of hard drive stuff there.
Yeah.
He founded SideQuest and built the Psy in SideQuest is his name, right?
Okay.
He built all this brand, but SideQuest were losing to iOmega.
Yeah.
And the board thought it was Syed Iftikhar's fault. And so they said, we want you to switch to something like the Zip, a plastic media. And he's like, no, I truly believe that hard disk buttons are the future. And they went, well, if that's the case, then you don't have a job here. They have to do. So he left and set up a company called Castlewood. And they made the Orb drive.
Right.
And he took a bunch of the engineers from SideQuest with him. And then they got sued by SideQuest for stealing their ideas because, you know, this looks remotely like this.
Oh yeah, look at that.
And this suffers from exactly the same fail state as this does.
Yeah.
So I have an Orb drive in here. This one doesn't work. This Orb drive that I picked up from consignment, it probably doesn't work.
Wow.
I have this Orb drive
And
that does work.
And they're hard to fix, right?
Yeah. And then I have a parallel port version at home. The other one that's terrible is this one, which is called the Sharp drive.
Oh, I never saw that one either.
They went for a much smaller form factor. This is pre-click. So it's 250 meg, but on a smaller disk than you get with the Zip.
Little floppy. Yeah.
Same problem.
Yeah.
You leave this in. I see many of these on eBay with the discs in. The disc, I'm like, I'm not buying it. Because it literally says in the manual, do not leave the disc in when you turn the device off.
And it's the same thing, a mechanical failure?
Yeah.
Okay.
The heads crash into the disc and the screw.
Yeah.
So this, I have 3 of these. This is the only one that works. Because they all fail for the same reason.
So if your power fails one time and you can't eject it,
That's it.
you're
The
done
power
because you turn.
fails, you're dead.
I mean, a glitch or something like that.
Yeah.
Take the disc out.
There's a pin hole that you can put a pin in and get the disc out. I mean, if the power fails, the power. They are PCMCIA, all parallel. So if you used it with a laptop and your laptop battery died, oh shit. There was no like cap to say, oh hold on a minute, let's retract the heads and eject the disc for the last few volts I can muster. No, it just becomes a RAM drive. Yeah, oh yeah, it just becomes it becomes a piece of
And there's no recovery service that can get the stuff off of
no,
it. So.
they don't exist. They existed for about a year. And then they went, there's a guy walking around that wrote the Windows 98 drivers for this job. He's like, I wrote the drivers for this. That company was terrible.
That's too funny. Did you ever use the little dynamos?
No.
Fujitsu dynamos?
No.
They were not very popular. I used the bigger format. It was great because it was hard partitioned, 300 something per side. So I could have my sampler data on one side for my Emacs, flip it over and put a PC or Mac data on the other side. So one disk could have 2 different kinds of media. It's a Pinnacle brand, I think, but it was a full height drive. It was a big sucker, 5 1/4. It's the same size. It looked kind of like a Bernoulli case, but fatter. And they were super sturdy, and they could never be erased outside the drive because you need the laser to kind of heat up the medium so you can move the domains around. Yeah, there you go. That's it. Those are great. I've never had them fail. Oh, that's a huge one. That's huge. See, I was early days, so it was only, I think 650 or 700 is the max you could get.
You know what? These people I know around here, these are the other AMD GPUs only use. Somebody went, oh, I found these. What? No, I found them at the flea market.
Like if you have
Wow.
that VRAM,
I was like, yeah, sure. I guess I'm going to need to buy a drive for them now.
Well, I was trying to find cheap versions, so for a while, before Samsung had better quality control, Samsung was making those kind of discs. And I kept going back to other brands because the Samsung ones kept failing. The quality was shit, you know. And you can't have those fail, then you lose your data. It's just awful. So the other one, I've had those for decades. Never had one fail from the quality discs that I bought.
A 3.5 inch demo. This one. So it's a 3.5 inch magnetron.
Okay.
It's a custom SCSI.
Who makes that one?
I don't know who made this one. This belongs to a guy over there.
Looks like the Dynamo almost, a little format.
Electric company from Japan.
Okay. I wonder if it's the same size as the Dynamo.
So no, it's 3.5 inch, so it's the same size as
Yeah.
the disc.
Yeah. That's what the Dynamo looked like. It was a little disc.
Right. Yeah, I've never, I don't have any media for it. And literally, guy over there,
Yeah.
and then I was like, oh, you're going to be having it on your display? And he was like, no. I went, can I put it on my display?
Yeah.
He was like, sure.
Cool.
And if anyone brings a disc in, I've got the cable for it. And if nobody brings a disc in, at the end of tomorrow, it goes back.
Yeah. That's cool. Well, that's cool. You have all these crazy formats. I only know about some of them, so.
Yeah. I got this one. And then my wife was like, I've got these zip discs. Can I get the data off them? I'm like, well, I can if I buy the zip drive. So I bought a zip drive. And then somebody's like, oh, have you got this one? Have you got one of those?
Yeah.
I'm like, no. He's like, well, I've got some discs. So I bought one of these. And then I bought one of those. And then I bought one of these. And then I bought one of those. And
So I remember they had 44, 88, and there was the next level up of the big one.
88 and 200.
200, that was it.
And then this was 105 and 270.
Right.
Then this was 135, this was 230, which they're compatible with each other. So this one will read the drive disc from this one.
Yeah, I had a lot of problems with 270s.
Right.
There's just something about them. I don't know why. I think it was more of a mechanical thing than the drive. It's the disc itself.
Right.
But yeah, just like when your printer's working right, you have certain sounds it makes. You knew when you turn that thing on, if you didn't hear that yang noise, you're like, it's fucked.
Yeah.
So and it would sometimes spin up and then spin down. A little tab would come out, and I go, "What did I do?" So that's why I like the 44s and stuff, because they had that hard chunk on a lever.
You knew the sound.
You knew it was in, and you knew when you pulled it, it was going to pop out because it was all mechanical
Yeah.
and positive action.
Yeah, whereas the 135 used the same mechanism. This one didn't. Somebody put a disc in this.
Uh-oh.
Not a problem. I just have to power it up to get the disc out.
Ah.
Yes, the disc is in there. I guess I could.
That's a Spark, or what is that one?
And that's a easy flyer. So that's the upgraded version of this.
Oh, I remember the Flyer. That's right.
But now
Were those any good?
I mean, they weren't as good as this one.
Yeah. So better than the 270,
Again,
but
the clunk, the physical locking mechanism versus this is like electronic locking.
you have to wait.
You
Yeah.
have to wait.
And hope it comes out. Was there a pin thing you could get it out? Like a little paperclip action or anything to get it out?
Doesn't look like it.
Wow.
Power buttons on the side.
Okay.
I mean, maybe there.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, that's cool.
I got a power supply so I can just plug it in. And
Yeah. I was trying to think of other formats. There were some other ones. I can't remember them, though. It's a whole weird time period. Good stuff. Well, nice talking to you. Thank you.
You too.
Yeah, really cool. Learned a lot of stuff. Alrighty. What else we got? So we have the iBook laptops. So we had the iMac and the iBook, and they had the flavors just like the iMacs did. So Bondi Blue, Blueberry, Tangerine, the lime one, and the matching mice to go with it. Kind of a ergonomic shell like on the Newton eMate 300s, but with a proper Mac OS and not Newton OS. In the middle, we've got all kinds of stuff. Some Philips CDI, looks like. Is that web TV?
I would like to be there. This is what you look like.
Oh, look at that. The old AT&T video phone. That's hilarious. So choppy. Horrible frame rate. That's great. Wave of the future. Got the networking shit here. Acoustic couplers. There's like a mini acoustic coupler, like a portable version. That's crazy. Look at that thing. Fujitsu. Oh, FM Towns. This is the. So the FM Towns mouse is the same as the Roland mouse on the Roland samplers. The pinouts are the same. So if you take a PS2 mouse, convert to FM Towns, you can use it on a Roland sampler. You don't have to buy an expensive Roland mouse over $100. I bought the adapter on eBay. Look at this thing. It's got MIDI built in. Crazy. Oh, excuse me. Pardon me. NEC games are pretty good. That's a Sharp system there. It's back when the computers looked really boring, but the games were good on them. NEC PC 600 Mark II. Oh, 6001 Mark II. Pardon me? Oh, they got Prince of Persia over there. There's a classic. The amount of hours I sunk into Prince of Persia and all the sequels. Crazy. Same guy who did Karateka on the Apple II. All rotoscoped. There's another Fujitsu. This guy's got to fight a dragon. That's cool. Little tiny controller. There's the Fujitsu FM Towns. The vertical CD. Yeah, got a multi-paint system. And some kind of rendering there, very slow. Crazy. Portable devices. And scanner.
The end of season 3 is the Islanders.
Pretty cool, pretty cool. Well, there's a good place right up here. I'll do one more table. I'm going to go hit the restroom. I'll restart the stream. Hatchmeister.
Highly recommend it.
I've never heard of that one. Bars and pipes. Maybe 2000.
I guess this one just doesn't want to play.
I don't know what's going on, but I like it.
Is that a version of Cubase?
3, I think.
Yeah, here, take a look at the track names here on Cars and Pipes.
Fun.
Track names.
Got some nice gear here for demos. Hawaii K3, VP9000, Microcore TR8.
Instead of just ignoring half.
Okay. I'm gonna take a quick break and hit the restroom. So if you guys are still watching, look for stream number 2. I gotta check my battery and the clock as well. I have no idea what time it is. Damn YouTube app. So stay tuned. I'll rejoin right here in a bit.